Hey there, all you cool, epic, and awesome fans, followers, and listeners. Welcome to episode 53 of the Cool, Epic, Awesome podcast. My name is Matt, and I'll be your co-host today.
And I'm your other co-host, Joe.
And today we're joined by a very special guest. It's her first time ever podcasting, and we're very happy to have her here. So, Emily, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm Matt's girlfriend.
Yeah, she comes to see all the movies with me. I do mention her a lot. So, we actually recently ran through the entire MCU.
Yep, we watch a lot of movies together.
Yeah. As well as some of the other X-Men films to prepare for Deadpool and Wolverine, but we'll get into that later. So yeah, for those of you that are listening, you probably pretty much know me and Joe's taste by now. So, Emily, do you want to kind of give some of your taste in film? What do you like? What kind of genres do you like? What are your favorite movies?
Yeah, so mostly I like romance movies, rom-coms, and your typical girly movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I do really enjoy like true crime movies and thriller movies. More true crime and thriller rather than something like horror. But I still kind of enjoy it. I like sitting on the edge of my seat during movies if they're not like romance or the typical girly movies.
Yeah. And I force you to watch horror or something.
Yes. And I also really like the nostalgic Disney original movies, like not the movies that you would see in the theater, but the movies that would like come on Disney Channel when we were younger.
Like High School Musical?
Like High School Musical, like the one with the mermaid boy, I don't remember it, Lucky 13 or something like that. Halloween Town, things like that. Like I really enjoy those, and I'll watch them again and again.
Yeah.
Something else I like, sorry to cut you off.
No, I cut you off first.
Something else that I really like, which doesn't really go like by the genre, but I really like books that are inspired by
movies that are inspired by books.
Movies that are inspired by books, or movies that are inspired by like a true story where like I could read something about the movie like either before or after watching it and like compare.
Yeah, because I know you're like an avid book reader.
Yeah.
So you kind of get the best of both worlds for a lot of these films.
Yeah, I really like doing both.
What are like some of your favorite movies of all time though? Anything come to mind?
Well, I like the movie Flipped, which is random. It's like a typical girl movie. I really love that. Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I really like that movie. I made you watch it.
Yeah.
Something that you introduced me to that was one of my favorites was the Saw series. I really like those. I wrote that down. For a thriller movie, I really liked Gone Girl. And I have the book that I want to read too, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, Gone Girl's great.
Yeah.
I guess before we get started, one more question for you is, who are some of your favorite actors and actresses? Give me one each.
I feel like my favorite actress is Lily Collins. I feel like I've seen her in like Emily in Paris, but also some other movies that I don't really remember off the top of my head, but I really like her. I follow her on Instagram and I like her. And for some of my favorite actors, I was thinking maybe like Channing Tatum. Like I feel like he's just like the first person that comes to mind.
You like Magic Mike, huh?
I've never seen Magic Mike, but I like Dear John and The Vow and movies like that.
I feel like I know him as more of a comedic actor.
Yeah, I know him more of like the rom-com, romance, Nicholas Sparks kind of vibe.
Yeah. I got you.
Or Step Up. I like him in Step Up.
Is that a dancing movie?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, thanks for giving that intro. Really excited for the episode, and thanks for joining us.
Of course.
So on today's episode, we're going to be discussing 3 films, 2 of which were in theaters. Twisters, starring Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar-Jones, and then Deadpool and Wolverine, which we've been looking forward to for a long time. Yeah. We'll save the spoilers for the end of that, so don't worry. We'll give a spoiler warning before we start talking about that. But lots of cameos.
Yeah.
It was a fun time in the theater, and it already made a ton of money. We'll talk about that, I guess.
We'll talk about that.
And then, since Emily, you were gonna come on this week, I recommended last episode that we would watch Manchester by the Sea, which I know is one of your favorites. So we'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, I guess to start things off, we could start with Twisters. I'll give a little bit of a synopsis here. By I'll give one, I mean I'll read it straight off my phone. So, as storm season intensifies, the paths of former storm chaser Kate Carter and reckless social media superstar Tyler Owens collide. When terrifying phenomena.
That's right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Okay. Sorry.
It's
Never
the
seen.
plural of phenomenon.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Never seen before are unleashed. The pair and their competing teams find themselves squarely in the paths of multiple storm systems converging over central Oklahoma in the fight of their lives. So this is obviously a sequel to Twister from
96.
96, which I checked out kind of recently. And
Yeah.
overall, I think I enjoy this one a little bit more. I don't know how you guys feel.
Yeah.
I like this one better for sure.
I definitely felt like that the characters were more memorable, more compelling.
Yeah.
And
I also
yeah, you can go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
I think also the fact that the advancements in like CGI and stuff definitely helped this movie out a lot, as opposed to the first one.
Yeah, I think the first one used a lot of practical effects too, which did work, but they are able to do a lot more now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just like quick initial thoughts. I did really enjoy it. I think it's good for a summer blockbuster. It's not really high art or anything.
Yeah.
It's just a good fun time. There's a good cast.
I feel like it's very surface level. It's not very, and not in a bad way. Like, it's just very fun for general audiences and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think it did pretty well financially.
Yeah. I think it was initially it was supposed to make around like 40 to 50 million and ended up making 80 million domestically.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
It almost doubled its expectations. I'm
Yeah.
surprised it did that well.
Yeah. And I feel like if they leave it in theaters, it's going to probably make a profit.
Yeah. It's the Glenn Powell effect, I guess.
It is the Glenn Powell
Yeah.
effect.
What did you think, Emily? Did you like it?
I really liked it. I originally gave it 4 stars, but I was thinking about it like all week after that, and I like kept listening to the soundtrack. I really like the soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack's really good.
I really like all the country music because I'm a big country music fan in general. And it had some of my favorite artists in the movie, so like I feel like watching it like the first day it came out, I was like, yeah, this is really good. And then I like kept listening to the soundtrack, and I kept being reminded of like scenes on TikTok and stuff, and I was like, damn, like I really like this. So I bumped my rating up to 4.5 stars, which is definitely more than my original Twisters rating. I gave that one, I think, 3 or 3.5.
Yeah.
So that's a big jump. But overall, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm that high on it as you are, to be honest.
I want to watch it again. I told my
Yeah.
girlfriends that when it comes on streaming, like we have to watch it on my TV.
You just kept thinking of Glenn Powell's chiseled features.
I kept thinking more of the music. And I had recently watched Normal People with Daisy Edgar Jones in it, and I really enjoyed it. I read the book for that, and then I watched the show. So I think I was on like a Daisy Edgar Jones kick.
Yeah.
And I really liked her in it.
That's kind of what she got big from, but
Yeah.
I think I've seen her maybe in 1 or 2 things. Oh, you know what she's in, Joe? That movie Fresh, the one with Sebastian Stan.
Oh, yeah. Oh, actually,
Did you watch that or no?
I did, yeah.
That's like her. I don't know if you've seen that, Emily.
I don't think so, but I gotta add it to my list now.
That's like her first big movie role.
Yeah.
She was pretty good in that.
Yeah. I thought
Yeah,
she was better in
Normal
this, though.
People's a short like show. It's like 10 episodes
Yeah,
or something.
that's
like
also where Paul Mescal came from.
They have really good chemistry in that, and
Yeah.
I think she had really good chemistry with Glenn Powell. But I don't know if that's her having a lot of chemistry or Glenn Powell, because I feel like Glenn Powell can have chemistry with anybody.
Yeah, he was good in Anyone But You with that as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, they definitely had chemistry.
And Hitman.
Yeah,
Hitman
Hitman.
as well, yeah.
What you guys were mentioning though about the soundtrack, that's one of my negatives about the film, honestly, is just
Really?
the amount of licensed music. It felt like every other scene they just threw in like a song by a popular artist, and it just became distracting to me at a point. I
feel
do.
like it was...
I
I'm
prefer a normal score, and obviously there is one in the movie, but it's kind of like not. This is such a random movie to bring up, but Suicide Squad. Every single scene had a licensed song in it, and it's just like, all right, like what are we doing here? You know, it just.
I feel like I disagree with that in the sense that I feel like the country music fits the narrative of the movie a lot more. And
Yeah.
Like in Suicide Squad, I feel like they were just throwing in like IP song, like big, well-known songs. I'm pretty sure a lot of the songs for Twisters were wrote for the movie.
Yeah, I think that most of them were written for the movie. They had, like, on Apple Music, I have the album, and it's literally called Twisters the Album.
Yeah.
And I think a couple of the songs, I only know this because I'm a big Thomas Rhett fan, but, like, he wrote, like, 2 songs for this movie, but they're also on his album that's coming out in a month. So it's like he released them for this movie.
But that's not an uncommon thing where they compile an album together based on a movie. Or just, like Spider-Verse did it, for example. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like the continuing use of popular artists' songs I know they're for the movie, but it took me out a little bit.
Yeah.
That was all. But yeah, one thing that I did really like is I liked how the story progressed and how at first it's about, wrangling these tornadoes and getting all up in the action, but by the end it's more about saving the people of Oklahoma in the small towns. I like how it made that jump.
Yeah.
And, not all the characters are cut and dry of good or bad. Like Anthony Ramos, his character, I think he's a pretty good actor. I like that he's popping up in a bunch of new stuff, but his character was morally gray, where they have this whole plot point of this guy's coming in and buying people out after their properties get destroyed, which in itself is morally gray because, what else are they going to do with this land? Like, it's destroyed. No one else is going to buy it. But at the same time, you're taking advantage of these people that just went through a tragedy. So I liked how they had that sort of conflict, especially in Anthony Ramos's character.
Yeah. I agree. And I like how, I feel like he was gray, but a lot of the other characters were kind of like David Cornswell's character. I can't remember his name. Like he's definitely more on like he's not really a morally gray. He seems like an antagonist.
He was just a dick.
Yeah,
it was interesting to see him in that role though, because we know he's gonna be playing Superman. Who's supposed to be.
He was good. I was gonna ask you that because how did you think of him? Like, because this is his first kind of major movie role, I feel like. I would actually, he had a role in Pearl, but I feel like this is a bigger movie.
Yeah, we saw him in Pearl. Me and Emily, we just rewatched Pearl recently. And I thought he was good in that.
Yeah.
He was alright, but he definitely had
he plays like the film guy, right?
Projectionist.
Yes, yeah.
I feel like his role in this, though, he had more of a presence, even though I don't know why I feel that way, because in Pearl, he's kind of like one of the only characters in that movie. But, yeah, what do you think? Emily, you agree?
Yeah, I had never really heard of him as an actor before you told me about him being Superman in the future. I thought his role in Twisters was good. I liked how he was like such like he was just mean.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he was just like he wasn't compassionate about the people. And I agree with Matt. Like I really like how Twisters became at the end more about like saving the people rather than like, tracking the Twisters like the first movie.
Yeah.
Which Daisy Edgar Jones' character Kate also like she left and did her own thing. But I also like how the overarching thing of the movie was like bringing Kate back to what she loved doing. Like she, at the beginning, spoiler alert, she was in a big twister and like all 3 of her friends passed away. So she moved to New York. She got her degree and she was working, I think, as a weather lady, something like that. Something with weather.
Yeah.
And Anthony Ramos's character came and brought her back to Oklahoma for a week-long Twister trip, and she ended up really loving getting back to what she loved doing.
Yeah.
And I really liked that overarching, story within the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a compelling aspect of her character for sure. But yeah, you mentioned the opening scene. I want to talk about that a little bit. Me personally, when I watched that, as soon as I saw that scene start and I see like all these characters that were barely even in any of the trailers, I was like, they're all gonna die.
Oh yeah, I was gonna get marked.
Yeah, you said that to me in the theater.
Like, yeah, which kind of took me out of it, but that's my own fault for being so invested with these trailers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Did you see that coming, Emily, or if I didn't say it, or?
I don't know, because I don't know if I saw all the trailers.
Yeah.
So I feel like if if you didn't tell me, I would have been more surprised.
Yeah.
And I probably would have, jumped more, even though I already jumped like 5 times during the movie. But yeah, I liked it. It gave like a little bit of exposition, I feel like.
Yeah, it gives more of a background of why Kate is the way that she is in the movie, and it was definitely necessary. It kind of reminded me, funnily enough, is in horror movies, a lot of times the opening scene there's an opening kill that kind of establishes, this like big bad, whoever the villain is. It establishes the stakes of like, okay, this guy is a real killer. Like, he takes people out. A lot of horror movies do it. They have the opening kill.
In this movie, the killer is the Twisters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny. I do want to get into a little bit more of my negatives, though, on the film, because I did have a couple of those. I feel like there's a lot of plot holes with just the fact that they're in Oklahoma, right? And there's this huge like surge of tornadoes or whatever. These people are used to having tornadoes. Why did none of them even know how to react whenever there's a twister coming? There's not enough like shelters in place. No one knows what they're doing. It just seems like the peril is there just for the sake of the story.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if you guys.
Yeah. I mean,
if that bothered you at all or not really?
I guess if you like, I didn't really think about it that hard because I feel like if they do that, then there's kind of no plot of the movie.
Yeah, I understand why they did it, but.
Yeah, it didn't really bother me. Like, I was thinking about that, but it didn't really bother me because I feel like with kind of all natural disasters, like, there are people that don't evacuate even if they do get a warning. So they kind of just, like, tornadoes have less of a warning than something like a hurricane.
Yeah.
So I feel like that might be true. Maybe not to that extent. Maybe they, like, exaggerated it a little bit, but it still might happen in day-to-day life, like, out in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm. No, like I said, I understand why, but it's just like, I feel like so many points of the plot just shouldn't have actually happened in reality. Like, these are guys who are quote-unquote storm wranglers or tornado wranglers, yet they somehow almost die on every single mission. Like, I feel like they would be more professional at what they're supposed to be doing.
I mean, I feel like the whole point is, like, there's not a professional way to do it. It's not like it's supposed to be dangerous. Like, they're almost supposed to die because you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, that's true. And then, like, Glenn Powell's character, Tyler and Kate, they go to this rodeo, and somehow they just don't know that there's, like, a tornado.
Yeah, that bothered me.
There's a tornado that shows up in, like, 1 minute, and they just somehow did not even know at all. Like, that made no sense.
That was very strange, yeah. I mean, it made for a cool scene, though.
Yeah. Do you guys want to maybe talk about your favorite scenes really quick? I could start if you need a second.
I know my favorite scene, right?
My favorite, I think, was the end when Kate sort of goes back into the storm to, because it's her proving her scientific project that she was working on with her friends at the beginning. It's her proving that it's actually possible and she could do it. Yeah. And at the same time, she's also saving the entire town while putting her own life on the line. So I feel like that really encapsulated like her character and just what she's all about. And obviously, it's the big climax of the movie. So
yeah.
Right. Joe, you could go.
Yeah. My favorite scene was the kind of, I don't want to say like a fire tornado, but that kind of the big tornado at the end that's at like some type of factory, and it kind of visually it just looked really impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, and there was one funny part of that scene is like the truck gets flipped over, and then a flying object just hits into it, and it flips right back on its side.
Oh yeah.
That was funny. Emily, you got a favorite scene or?
Yes, I wrote down two. I like the scene with the dandelion, like towards the beginning, where Kate is like picks the dandelion out and sees which way the wind is going. I liked that because it kind of reminded me of the first movie where like Bill, I think his name is Bill.
I think Bill is the actor.
Oh.
Let me look
the main actor, he has like tornado sense or whatever.
Yeah.
And they always they wanted to bring him back onto the team because of that. And the dandelion scene kind of reminded me of that. And it kind of brought me back to thinking about the first movie and comparing the two. And I also liked that scene because it was like one of the first scenes with Glenn and Daisy, and seeing their chemistry together, and like seeing the quippy banter and stuff like that. Yeah. So I liked that. And Kate was my favorite character in the movie, so I really like that scene.
Yeah,
it's mostly about her.
Yeah, and just because what you said before about Bill, you were right.
His name was Bill? Okay.
Yeah, the actor is Bill, and
the character is Bill?
is also Bill.
Was it Bill Paxton?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to be wrong.
Yeah, no, that actually was a really good scene. It was kind of like a more nuanced and gentle scene compared to what me and Joe chose.
Yeah, I did like both of your scenes that you picked too. That was like the one that stood out to me, like when I was thinking back to what my favorite scene was.
Yeah. All right, and Joe, I guess Emily just said her favorite character, but you can give yours.
Yeah, mine was Glenn Powell's character,
Tyler.
I mean, he just has a lot of charisma on screen. He's kind of just playing like kind of his character that he plays in every other movie, like the kind of but
the handsome jock.
Hey, I mean, it works. He's very charming in the role. Yeah.
So he's very charming. Sorry to go off track. Sorry to go off track before Matt says his favorite character.
Right.
But I was seeing so many TikToks after we watched the movie of them at the premiere, and he brought his dog, and I was like, he's the cutest guy.
Yeah. Oh, I saw that too of him. He has like a little dog too.
Yeah, his name is Brisket.
Yeah, I think didn't he say he like got the dog while they were filming?
He got the dog while they were filming.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It just adds to his charisma.
Yeah, he's got it like that. What can I say? Anyways, my favorite character. I really enjoyed Daisy Edgar-Jones as Kate. The film really is about her. She's kind of the central focus in terms of characters.
Yeah.
And she gave a great performance. And yeah, I really liked her story, like what Emily was saying before, about how she's brought back to doing what she loves. And she did try to make the noble sacrifice at the end, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, I just reminded myself of one thing I want to bring up. No kiss at the end.
Yeah, that's like my only like negative. I wish they kissed at the end.
And they filmed it too.
Yeah. Did you see who got it cut from the movie?
I think I did. But
so it was revealed that like Steven Spielberg he gave his notes on the film and he said that it was too corny, and he told him to cut the kiss.
I mean, it would be a little corny, but Emily likes that kind of stuff.
Honestly, they do have really good chemistry, so if they did, like, I wouldn't mind. Like, I feel like it depends. I get it's cliche, but if
it feels weird. Like running back into the airport in itself is cliche. You might as well just.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, what did he run back in there to do? Just like say,
he literally like broke the concrete.
Yeah.
With his twisty thingy.
Yeah, like what did he just ran in there to be like, yo. Stay.
But like that's where he drew the line. Like that was too cliche, not cementing himself in the airport.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add, but I think I'm ready for my rating.
Yeah. I'm ready.
All right. So Twisters. Hold on. I want to make sure I get this right. Sorry, because I'm forgetting.
It's okay. I can go first. I told you guys already, I gave it 4 stars originally, but then I bumped it up to 4.5 because I really it would not get out of my head. It was stuck in the back of my head for 2 weeks.
Fair enough. All right, so I gave Twisters a 3.5 star. I think it's great for what it is. You know, it's a nice summer blockbuster, lots of action, great cast. The actors have good chemistry with each other. My only issues were some of the things I talked about earlier, which would be, you know, the plot holes having to do with how these people in Oklahoma somehow don't know how to handle a tornado, and like all these moments of peril seem to just be forced. But it didn't take me out of it too much, so I think it was solid, and I wouldn't mind if there was a sequel to this movie. So
me too.
I ended up giving it a 3.5, so 7 out of 10. Like Matt said, I think it's a lot of fun. It's like a good like summer blockbuster movie, but there are like some, you know, it's not a perfect movie. There's some plot holes, some stuff I didn't like, but overall, I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it succeeded at what it was going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we could talk a little bit about the box office, though. I know we mentioned it, but do you think with this much success, are they going to greenlight a sequel? I feel like probably, right?
I mean, right now, if it ended its box office now, I'd say no. But if it continues like on its track, because what has it made now? Probably like 150 million, maybe.
I feel like more.
Let me
Let
see.
me look. Yeah, let me look it up really quick. Twister's box office. Emily, I don't know if you really know much about the box office, but
Absolutely no idea, so that's why I'm just being quiet.
yeah. No, me and Joe, we talk about it.
Yeah.
But all right, here we go. Hold on. So, yeah, it's made 173 million so far worldwide. And it opened with 81 million domestic, which is kind of crazy. I know you mentioned that before.
But the budget's around 200 million. That's a
Really?
problem. Yeah. So
it's that high? Are you sure?
Yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah, I actually have no idea why.
I guess the
I don't know where that money went. I mean, the cast is good, but it's not a $200 million cast. Like, that's how much the Avengers movies cost.
Yeah. I mean, maybe like the CGI.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. Honestly, a lot of it could have went to the soundtrack, or a decent chunk of it.
Honestly, probably.
Because those are some real heavy hitters. And
they got some bangers.
Yeah.
I could listen right now.
I don't really listen to country, but those are pretty...
Yeah. I really enjoyed them. They have big names, too. Like,
that's what I was going to say.
Thomas Rhett has his own headlining tours. Luke Combs. Yeah. Luke Combs brought them out on stage.
Yeah.
2 days later.
Oh, yeah.
I was so jealous.
He was shotgunning.
My brother went to go see Luke Combs the next day. I was like, damn.
Oh, he just missed it?
He just missed it. Not that he would have known, but...
Yeah. But, I don't really know. I didn't know it was a $200 million budget, so...
That's a nice book.
All right, so I guess if you guys are ready, we can move on to the next movie. Joe, you want to give a little intro to Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yeah. So, this is a movie that we've been anticipating for a long time. So it's the third Deadpool and Wolverine, and it says a listless Wade Wilson toils away in civilian life with his days as the morally flexible mercenary Deadpool behind him. But when his homeworld faces an existential threat, Wade must reluctantly suit up again with an even more reluctant Wolverine. So, it's the movie's. I'm gonna start off by saying it's definitely a major improvement over most of the stuff the MCU has been putting out in the last couple of years, in my opinion. Matt, I don't know if you agree with that.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a major improvement. I don't think it's the best MCU movie since Endgame.
No.
I think Doctor Strange is better.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like, I felt like this was the most fun I've had from watching a movie since Endgame.
It definitely was a lot of fun. It definitely goes into.
Like, this is the first. I'm sorry.
No, I just want to preface. Excuse me, that we're gonna try not to do any spoilers at least for the beginning.
Yeah.
What I like about this movie though the most is that each Deadpool 1 and 2 are yes, they're superhero movies, but at the same time they're also making fun of the genre. So I felt that Deadpool and Wolverine was making fun of this big cameo subgenre that's like huge now with superhero movies of having people come back and the multiverse. It was making fun of that stuff while also doing it at the same time, which I thought was pretty clever, and it works in both aspects because people are tired of it, so the fact that it's making fun of itself I think works. But also the people that love that stuff are still going to love the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it works for what it's trying to be. At its core, it's a comedy.
Yeah. So, it's definitely the funniest MCU movie.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I think it's probably the funniest Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
Emily, what did you think? Because before this movie was coming out, I made Emily watch every single MCU movie, every MCU show, as well as every X-Men movie. So now that you're caught up.
I really liked it. It was actually like my first. I'd seen some Marvel movies like here and there before we watched the whole thing in order. but never in the theater. So this was like my first theater experience, and I was very like hyped. I had my popcorn, I had my candy. I was like very excited. And I think it lived up to like my expectation of what it would be. I really liked the Deadpool movies to begin with. So I thought this was like a good extension. And after watching the X-Men movies, I really liked Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. So I was like, excited to see it. And had a lot of good fight scenes, lots of comedy, like you guys said. And I also liked the soundtrack of this movie, which, if you watch it, you'll know the songs. But yeah, so I enjoyed all the throwback songs.
You know the Greatest Showman, right?
Yes,
what did they use that song or no? Because I know it was supposed to be.
They did for it was 3 seconds while they were fighting in the car.
Oh.
So they turned it on for a sec and then turned it back off to whatever song was in the fight scene. I really like The Greatest Showman also.
Yeah.
I really like the soundtrack in that movie. I have that soundtrack on my phone and it comes up on my car all the time. I actually started rewatching The Greatest Showman the night before Deadpool Wolverine. I just didn't finish it because I fell asleep, but I really like that movie.
All right, yeah, I have some notes though. Unless Joe, you have anything that comes to mind, because there's a lot going on in this movie, and I want to make sure I have something.
We have to go into spoilers without me really
I was trying not to give any spoilers.
Yeah, so let me say I'll talk about the things I did without saying the spoilers.
Yeah.
The fights are really good. I love the Deadpool and Wolverine costume. It's definitely the best Wolverine costume we've seen on screen.
Yeah. Nothing really even comes close. What's the other good one? Days of Future Past. It's decent.
Yeah, but I honestly think there's a lot of room for improvement with this suit too. I think they could do way better.
Yeah, there's still there's issues with it, but
yeah,
it works. It's his first big yellow.
I don't think this is really a spoiler, but there's a montage kind of scene of Deadpool trying to find a Wolverine, and it's all different kind of versions from the comics. So there's a
short one.
Yeah, there's the comic accurate. That was I forgot. That was actually really funny. There's a short, because in the comics Wolverine's supposed to be really short. I think he's supposed to be 5'3" or something like that.
Yeah.
So they have a scene where he goes and he walks up to the bar, and he's like Wolverine, and then he hops off the bar stool, and you see he's really small. That was funny. They had what was the other one? There's one's from comics, but I'm not
brown
sure.
And yellow suit.
The brown and yellow one. That's from the Outback era.
That suit looked really cool. Action. I kind of want them to use that suit in the MCU moving forward. The brown and yellow.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna. There's no way they don't do the yellow and blue, because they're gonna want to distinguish themselves from the old suits.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I got a couple things to mention before we get into spoilers. I like how I don't think this is a spoiler, but they go to the Void.
Yeah.
From Loki. I like how they use the Void as a way to explain the cameos. It kind of makes sense as to why these characters are appearing, because the Void is kind of just, shit just gets thrown there. It doesn't really have to make sense. So I liked how they used that to explain the cameos. It actually made sense.
Yeah.
Unlike something like The Flash. What the fuck was going on at the end of that movie?
It was just, all the cameos in the movie make sense. There's a reason for the characters being there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel forced or whereas in The Flash, you have a CGI Nicolas Cage Superman, which honestly, Deadpool has deep cut, cameos like that as well. But they're just so much better executed. There's one in this that's probably equivalent to that, I'd say.
Yeah. But that person actually gets screen time. Yeah. There's a reason why they're there, and they get dialogue, and they're actually part of the movie.
Yeah.
I also want to mention the villain, Cassandra Nova. She was great, played by Emma Corrin, who I'm not really that familiar with. I think she's from The Crown.
Yeah,
something.
She plays Princess Diana in The Crown.
She's actually she's gonna be in Nosferatu next.
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited for that. Yeah. But I know she always gets awards for The Crown, every single year.
Yeah, Emmys.
Emmys, yeah. She was great. I really liked her villain. I liked how her dynamic with her brother. They mention it a little bit. She kind of feels that she was discarded by him, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
But there's that scene towards the end where it's not. This isn't a spoiler, but we'll get into spoilers after this anyway. But her and Wolverine talking, and he's like, Charles would have loved you too. I thought that was a really good scene.
Yeah.
Not my favorite in the movie, but I like just that dynamic between them.
Yeah,
they're kind of like polar opposite characters.
Yeah.
Which is
But it is cool because like all the stuff that Wolverine's saying, most of the audience they know, they grew up watching that Professor X, so they know like it's true. Like he would do those things to fun.
Yeah. But I think we could probably get into spoilers now.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to talk about some plot spoilers, we'll get to the cameos when we get to them.
Yeah.
But it turns out that, and I guess I'll talk about how Logan is handled in the movie, which I know was a big issue for a lot of people. How are they going to handle Logan? It was this big send-off for Hugh as Wolverine, and they turned it into a joke, which I think worked for this movie. It doesn't. It's not like at first Deadpool goes to Logan's grave and he's like, "I'm gonna bring Logan back from the dead," but then he goes and he actually is dead. So they kind of, which leads to my favorite scene in the movie, which is the intro scene.
Yeah.
That's also, I wrote that down as one of my favorite scenes too.
Yeah, that might have been the biggest laugh that I had.
Yeah.
Just Deadpool dancing. And the
that's
fact
really
that
awesome.
that he uses Logan's corpse.
But
as a weapon.
I don't think it would have worked for any other like movie, unless it was Deadpool doing that. Like it's like making fun of him, like desecrating his corpse. Like it was just like it just ended up being funny. But I feel like only Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds could have done that.
And it leaves Logan as it is. It's like, okay, Logan, that movie, like Logan actually died at the end, and his sacrifice has meaning. Yeah. Like the Wolverine in this movie is from a completely different universe. But one thing that actually solidified Logan as being this, noble sacrifice and a great ending to the character is that he's the anchor being of that universe, which is described as basically each universe has this one person that if they die, the universe basically slowly disintegrates and just fades out of existence. So Logan in that world is the anchor being. So without him, the world just doesn't exist anymore. It's gonna eventually disintegrate, which I felt like kind of made his sacrifice at the end even better because it shows how noble of a person he was.
And I like how also like when they're explaining that in this movie, like the entire like TVA knows about the ending of Logan, which is it's funny, but it also shows respect to like how important his character was to that universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyways, basically, that universe where Logan died is Deadpool's main universe.
Mm-hmm.
So, since Logan's dead, the universe is eventually going to fade out. It's supposed to take thousands of years for it to happen, but this kind of gives us our secondary villain of the movie, who is Mr. Paradox. He's an agent at the TVA, and he's supposed to basically oversee these universes once their anchor beings die. But he's like, all right, I don't want to wait. What's the point of waiting 2,000 years? I might as well just destroy them now and make my job easier. So he's basically trying to destroy Deadpool's world because Wolverine's no longer there. But that actually brings something up. Why did he pull Deadpool out? Why didn't he just destroy the world? He said he needed him for a purpose.
Probably, like the TVA. Probably, it's gonna have to do with him playing a role in like Secret Wars. Because they probably said like he plays an important role in the future, so he can't be like sent to the void or pruned or whatever because he serves a greater. He's important to the future.
Did they ever explain that or no?
No. It's just alluded that he's gonna have a role in. I'm assuming Secret Wars.
Yeah, or maybe even the next movie, which we'll have to talk about that later. But that's a whole other thing. So yeah, what was I saying? Anyways, yeah, sorry. So Deadpool basically gets pulled out of his world, and this guy Paradox is like, all right, we need you for a higher purpose, but we're gonna destroy your world. Because, the anchor being's not there. So Deadpool's like, fuck that. I'm just gonna find my own Wolverine and bring him back to my world to save it. Which leads to that sequence of hopping between universes and seeing all these different versions of Wolverine. Which gave us a couple cameos.
Yeah.
Joe, you want to you could talk about some of them.
So they had the Outback era, which we spoke about, the kind of brown and yellow suit, but that scene is also features a cameo from the Hulk, which is I remember seeing stuff about that, but I was like, there's no way I didn't think they were gonna do something like that.
Yeah, because Wolverine versus the Hulk is kind of like a big fight that happens in the comics.
Yeah. That's where he first appeared, Wolverine.
His first appearance was fighting the Hulk.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah,
that was
and
cool.
then was later added to the X-Men.
What's the version of? There's like a version of him that's strung up on like an X.
I didn't know
Jesus.
what that one was. It was like,
You think
It was like he was being crucified.
Yeah, but do you think was it just saying, "Oh, he's Jesus"? Like,
No, I don't think it was saying he's Jesus, but
Nah.
it was just like alluding to that kind. But it was like on the X instead of on the cross.
yeah. There's also the one where he kind of was given like a greaser kind of vibe. You know that kind of, like, it's like the first.
oh yeah,
Wolverine.
was it his hand cut off?
Was it? Was his hand cut off?
Yeah, it was like he had like a dagger for a hand.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's Emily. That's the one with the. It's like the first, or no, the first Wolverine's the short one. Maybe it's the second Wolverine that he's kind of like behind a fence, and he sees him. There's like a brick wall.
I don't remember.
That's all right. There's a lot of stuff going on. The funniest one, though, and I think I was really surprised they did this, was the Henry Cavill, Wolverine, or Deadpool.
Oh yes,
calls him Cavalrine.
what did they say the cavalry?
The Cavalrine.
Yeah,
That was really funny because you see this guy's back. At first, I was like, "This dude's huge." I knew it wasn't Hugh Jackman, but because he looked like insane. But then he turns around, and he has the scar in his mouth, or not the cigar in his mouth. And it's kind of funny because there's this like fan art going around of Henry Cavill as Wolverine, and it's in the wife beater with the cigar, and he looks exactly like the fan art. I feel like that had to be on purpose.
Yeah.
Deadpool also has a line, and Emily, I don't know if you know Henry Cavill.
I know who he is, but I didn't know that people were speculating or wanting him to be Wolverine.
Well, he played Superman for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's why Deadpool is like, "Oh, we'll treat you so much better than those other guys." He's talking about DC, like.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, I don't know anything really about DC versus Marvel.
It's just like a different.
Yeah, it's just like a different
character.
The only DC movie I've seen is Madam Web, and
that's
we know how that went.
Madam Web is Marvel still.
I thought it was DC.
Madam Web is Sony.
It's like, it's Marvel,
Sony.
but it's like a different like company.
Oh, okay.
Dude,
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any of the DC.
DC is like Batman. I don't know if
I've never seen Batman or Superman. I've only seen Smallville.
Oh yeah,
the show, because I really like shows like that.
Yeah, so it's just like it's a different company that made their own comic books, with their own heroes.
I see.
There's,
My bad.
You're not a nerd.
I'm not a movie nerd.
Yeah. That kind of just shows like why the general public gets confused on these things, right there. Joe, we kind of always assume that everyone just knows
all the comic book stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, so I thought that line was really funny where Deadpool was like, "We'll treat you so much better than those other guys." That one got a big reaction out of my audience.
Yeah, I didn't understand it.
There was also like version of Patch from the comics. I think he was the Wolverine with the eye patch.
Yeah. I don't know the context for that Wolverine. I know he always wears a suit, but I don't know like what he's from.
I think it's just like him. He's in Madripoor, and it's just like another identity to hide himself. I'm pretty sure. I think Deadpool calls him Patchy when he pulls up.
Yeah.
So yeah, he basically eventually gets his Wolverine, and the Wolverine that he gets is kind of like just completely fucked. He's like sitting at a bar chugging alcohol. He can't even get his claws out. He's like obviously depressed. So Deadpool brings him to the TVA. You get your first look at his suit, and then, they have the scene where Deadpool's like, "Oh, I have Wolverine. I'll bring him back to my universe." Mr. Paradox is like, "You really think that you can just switch out an anchor being for another one? Like, you're really stupid, whatever." And whatever, the scene basically ends with Deadpool kind of figuring it out that this group down there that's trying to destroy these universes early, they're doing it without their superiors knowing. So when he
Yeah.
finds that out, he's kind of like, "Oh, I'm gonna go full
Karen.
Karen and like tell them." He gets pruned. Wolverine gets pruned, and
They go to the void.
yeah, they go to the void. Which Emily, if I didn't show you Loki, you probably would have been a little bit confused.
Yeah,
there,
yeah. If I didn't see a lot of Marvel stuff beforehand, I would have been very confused. But I really liked the Loki show, so I remembered about the void and what its purpose was and everything.
Mm-hmm. So
I like that line about Loki too, when they reveal that alliance, and that made me laugh.
Yeah, he's like, "Is that Elias from Loki season 1, episode 4?"
Like Elias in this thing.
Yeah, but yeah. So the void, basically, for those of you who don't know, it's where all the trash of the Marvel multiverse goes. So if some version of a character breaks some law having to do with time, the TVA will send them to the void to just live out the rest of their days. So it's basically just this big heap of all these different Marvel characters that have gotten sent there. And then we got our first big cameo right away, which shocked me because I didn't see any spoilers. Did you guys see spoilers going in? Or?
I saw this online already.
I didn't see this. I only saw one, but it wasn't a big spoiler.
Yeah, so I was completely shocked by this, and Chris Evans pulls up. Deadpool gets really excited. He's like, "Oh my god, it's
Cap, it's Cap."
Yeah, and he's like, he's gonna say Avengers Assemble, whatever, and then he ends up saying Flame On becomes the Human Torch, and it's just a callback to the fact that he played the Human Torch before he was even big, like in Fantastic Four. But as soon as that happened, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Because I showed Emily every single Marvel movie, but I didn't show her Fantastic Four. So she didn't even.
So when you first saw him, you didn't like when he pulled up. I knew automatically he was going to be Human Torch. Like I knew I don't know why.
No, I thought it was Captain America. I was so excited because like his movie, like the first Avenger, is like one of my favorite Marvel movies. I think I gave it like 5 stars.
Oh,
so I was so hyped, and it wasn't him. And then I was like confused. I was like, it's not Captain America, but I didn't know who it was. So I turned to Matt and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that's
honestly that was probably better for you because you didn't know. Like it was more of a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it was a surprise, obviously,
but it was probably a disappointment.
Yeah, like I was so excited because I loved Captain America.
Oh, okay, you wanted to be Captain.
Yeah, I wanted it to be Captain America, so I was like confused, but it ended up being like really cool. But
yeah, we'll watch those movies.
Yeah, now they're on our watch list.
Yeah. I actually wanted to talk about the cameo because I was excited that he was in it, but I feel like his scene where he actually like gets to use his powers is kind of wasted. He just kind of flies up and like just shoots at Pyro and that's it. Like I thought he was gonna get a little more action than that at least.
I was shocked by how much screen time he had. He was almost like a supporting role, like not as much as the other cameos, but
no, yeah, I mean,
he was in it for a decent bit.
Yeah, it's like a half hour of the movie at least.
Yeah, it was cool to see him in that costume though, the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
That's one.
And honestly, he still plays the role of Johnny Storm really well.
Yeah, he does. And that's the post-credit scene was really funny.
Yeah.
But that's Johnny Storm is known to kind of be like hot-headed and like a dick.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But yeah, so past then they get sort of. I feel like it's gonna take forever. I'm trying to not just go through this movie step by step, but there's like so much stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Deadpool and Wolverine end up getting captured. Johnny Storm gets captured with them. They pull up to Cassandra Nova.
Yeah, we meet Cassandra Nova.
She absolutely obliterates Johnny Storm in 1 second.
Yeah, I was surprised at how graphic that was.
Yeah, I mean,
I wasn't like unhappy with it, but I was just like I was shook for a sec.
Yeah, it is rated R, so I guess they can do that stuff.
I had a feeling like she was gonna murder one of them, but I didn't expect her to like rip his skin off. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It kind of establishes though, like how powerful she is instantly.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be like on par with like Scarlet. Like she's supposed to be like really, really powerful.
Yeah, which is why I'm surprised they ended up killing her at the end.
That's which I was actually really upset about because I loved her in the movie. I thought she was really good, and this is the first time in a while where like she's one of the one-off villains where I'm like I actually wanted her to stick around more. Usually they're kind of forgettable. But I feel like she's pretty memorable in the role.
Yeah, I mean, with the multiverse, they can always bring her back.
Yeah. Like, imagine her and, like, a Charles Xavier interacting. Like, that'd be sick.
Yeah. But, yeah, moving on, Human Torch gets killed, Deadpool and Wolverine end up escaping, and then they basically find this group of outcast Marvel heroes that also were stuck in the void that were trying to fight against Cassandra Nova.
Yeah.
Which is just like a big cameo fest.
Well, I wanted to mention the car fight scene.
Oh yeah.
So there's a scene, like when they're kind of looking for that group of people, and so to get Wolverine to go on this kind of journey with him, Deadpool tells him that the TVA is going to fix his world, and then it kind of slips that he doesn't know if they can, and they start fighting. But the scene is like fight scene is probably one of the more creative fight scenes in the MCU. Like there's it's inside of a car, so they utilize a lot of like the seatbelt and like the way the car moves. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. It's very graphic too.
Yeah,
and I like how it kind of just fades out and then goes to nighttime, and they're like both just asleep from fighting each other.
And there's there's a picture of the back of the car, and like it's the sticker that says coexist, and it's just like all the blood scattering all over.
Yeah, and it's just because neither of the characters can really die, so they're just fighting each other just because they're mad at each other. There's like no reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't love that scene. I disagree with you kind of. Like it didn't bother me, but I don't know. They fought like already in the movie like a lot, so I was like, why are they just fighting more? I guess it just like goes to show like how they are as characters, and like
snaps at Deadpool. He like really violates him.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't really need it.
Fair enough.
Fair.
But yeah, that ends up leading to, like I was saying, these group of Marvel misfits that were just stuck in the void. And you have Jennifer Garner's Elektra, which that in itself is a pretty deep cut. That's another one where I was like, are you kidding me, bro? They have characters from Daredevil, that movie from however long ago. I didn't show Emily that, so that's another one she's going to be confused about. Then you have Blade, which was that was my favorite cameo, because I love Blade. But another one I didn't show her, so she's like, who the fuck is this guy? Channing Tatum as Gambit, which
I loved that.
Yeah. I did tell her that he was supposed to play Gambit, because Gambit appeared in, I think, X-Men Origins Wolverine, so you got to see him before. Yeah. He has a pretty cool power
I knew,
set.
the character. Yeah. Like I said, I like Channing Tatum, and I thought his character was, so funny, the way he spoke, and, the accent, but, the accent in itself was, good, but then, he would say stuff, and it wouldn't make any sense, and no one would know what he was saying, and I just got a kick out of that.
Yeah. And they obviously addressed that. Yeah. Deadpool is like, who's your dialect coach?
I thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
I feel like they had to do that on purpose, though, to make him sound...
No, yeah, they did it on purpose.
Yeah, it was definitely on purpose, but I just really enjoyed it.
I'm trying to think if I would have been able to do, a Channing Tatum Gambit movie. If that would have been any good. I don't know.
I'm sure it would have been...
character with his own movie.
I don't know if you would have liked it, but I think I would have liked it.
I like Gambit. Well, man, he's a big character in X-Men 97.
Yeah, which I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Anyways,
any of the X-Men stuff I like.
The last displaced hero, which actually makes sense, was X-23.
Yeah.
From Logan. So she's part of that team.
She's kind of... it's implied she's, the leader of the team.
Yeah. She doesn't get her own suit, which I was a little disappointed in.
Yeah.
I wish she was in a suit.
She wore the glasses from Logan.
Yeah.
Which I feel like they probably thought that was going to be a big, crowd cheer moment, but I would have preferred her in a suit.
Yeah. It looked kind of ridiculous, in my opinion. Because she's old. She's like 20, in her 20s now. And she's wearing, something with toddler wear. Not toddler, but young girl.
Just her thing. I guess I hope that they keep her around, the actress as that character, in the Marvel, MCU. Yeah. And I feel like if she sticks around, she would get a suit.
Yeah, and I think she might, because by the end she is alive and with Logan and
with
Deadpool.
Logan,
yeah.
So
I wonder if
he brought people back from the void.
She's probably going to be in one of the Secret Wars then, if she's on that Earth.
Yeah, she'll probably be in one of the Avengers movies moving
Yeah.
forward. But yeah, that's basically all the cameos, right?
Yeah.
It is a little bit disappointing, not because of who they got, or actually not because of who they got in terms of, like, the actors, or anything like that, or like not because of I thought there was too little, but none of them are really X-Men centric.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Gambit is, and X-23.
X-23.
But I would have liked to see, Magneto, either like Michael Fassbender or Ian McKellen, either one of them.
Or I would have liked
Storm, Cyclops, anyone.
yeah.
Professor X. I
Professor
feel like,
X.
Professor X, yeah.
They mention all of them.
James McAvoy. I wish he was in it.
I thought,
Yeah.
like, at one point during the movie, they were going to show his flashback, and, like, that was going to be how they cameoed, was, like, him coming back in their role. Well, yeah,
I feel like that would have been a good
also
idea. Like, I mean, it depends on the actors and actresses if they wanted to come back or not, or if they reached out to them. But, Wolverine's whole thing was that he saw all his people die and he found them dead. Like, I feel like seeing that, like, that sort of scene, it would have made the movie longer, but I feel like that would have gave more cameos and it would have been very crowd pleasing.
Yeah, it would have been a good way to bring them back.
That-
But honestly,
that was-
they could have put Beast. Beast already appeared at the end of the Marvels. So there wasn't enough X-Men for me.
I wasn't the biggest fan of, like, because he said that he went to the bar and people went mutant hunting, but I was also in my head, I'm like, they're the fucking X-Men. Like, it's Cyclops, Jean Grey. Like, how are a bunch of humans just go up to the X-Mansion and just kill? Like, it didn't make sense to me. Like, how is
Did
it
he
not?
say that it was people?
He said they went mutant hunting, so it's implied like humans went after them.
But maybe it's the Sentinels. Maybe the humans.
Maybe,
Sentinels.
maybe. But then I guess why didn't they just say the Sentinel? The Sentinels elite, but even the Sentinels, they murk the Sentinels all the time.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing of Days of Future Past is like the Sentinels. Maybe it's supposed to be like an alternate Days of Future Past timeline where he wasn't around, so those Sentinels just like killed everyone.
Yeah,
could be that.
I don't know. I would have wished they showed it so it like they didn't even have to show it. Like, well, yeah, I would have preferred to show it physically, but at least it's like they're like, oh, like Apocalypse like killed everyone, like give a little explanation as to why, not just like, oh, they all died when I was at the bar. Like, it's kind of like
Yeah, no, I got you. But yeah, in terms of the cameos, because I know that's like what a lot of people care about. I gotta say my favorite was Blade though. I'm so shocked they got Blade.
That got the biggest reaction in my theater was Blade.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think, right, Emily?
Yeah, it got a big reaction.
So there was some kid behind us in the theater who was so annoying the whole entire movie.
Another big reaction was Chris Evans.
Yeah, Chris Evans was a big one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think my favorite cameo was Gambit, even though he wasn't even like a character in any movie before. I really enjoyed his. He was so funny.
Yeah,
he was funny. I like how he references like how he like when they talk about like all the people they saved, and like he just like or could have saved, like he just references how he didn't get a movie.
Yeah, he like made fun of the fact that he never like actually got his movie.
Yeah, I think Deadpool, his line was like,
or I was like, "Are you sure you're Gambit, or you really really want to be called Gambit, or something like that?"
Yeah, he's like, "Are you sure you're Gambit, or do you just
sure that's your superhero name?"
Yeah, he's like, "Do you really really want to be Gambit, but they won't let you?" Yeah, and I think a lot of the poking fun at the audience in terms of those cameos was really well done, especially with Blade.
Because Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds like had beef in real life.
Yeah,
so that's why I feel like the cameo was so surprising.
Yeah, because for those of you that don't know, the third Blade movie, Blade Trinity, Ryan Reynolds is in it. Probably one of the most annoying movie characters of all time, in my opinion. But there's that set of Blade 3, and like what happened on that set is notorious for just being one of like the worst sets of any movie, because Wesley Snipes just did not cooperate at all. And he like hated Ryan Reynolds. Apparently he like only addressed him as white boy or something like that. Or like he called him like cracker on set. I forget. Something to that effect. But yeah, they like never got along. And the fact that he, came back now to reprise his role.
Yeah. There's even a line about it. He's like, I don't like you. And he's like, you never did.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's been what 20 years. So the fact that they could poke fun at themselves was pretty cool. Wesley Snipes is like a weird guy in real life.
Yeah.
Apparently he like doesn't pay his taxes because he says he's like not a citizen of the U.S. He's like, oh, I'm just like a free roaming individual or something. I don't know. If you look into him, he's a very strange guy.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But
That's the guy who plays Blade.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
he actually, I thought his fight scenes were good too. Like for somebody that's older.
Yeah, they were good. I feel like they focused a lot on him during that big fight scene.
Yeah, there's even like that reference where he shoots that guy, and they have that like shot of him like in the Blade movies with the.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, in Blade. He says, he says the line, "Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill." And then he says it again, but he's like, they're still trying to ice skate uphill.
Oh.
So I thought that was a good callback. You're probably so confused.
Yeah, I didn't understand it at all.
It is a weird line in general.
Yeah.
One thing I did understand. Sorry.
Well, no.
The only thing I understood that he was referencing to was that he said like, "Oh, there'll only be one blade," because I knew that there was another Blade thing coming out.
He's
that was funny.
Because what led up to that also was they had a rocket launcher, and Deadpool's like, "Where'd you get that?" And Electro's like, "Oh, it was Punisher's," and he's like, "Which one? There's been like 5 of them, because there's been like 5 different actors who played Punisher." And then Blade's like, "There's only been one Blade. There's only ever going to be one Blade." And then Deadpool just slowly like looks at the camera.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
I got that joke because I knew that there was a Blade coming out.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like you represent more of the casual moviegoer, and you still watched every single MCU movie.
Yeah,
and you still were confused at points.
Yeah.
So I understand why people don't like the movie, because a lot of the jokes aren't going to be funny if you don't.
Yeah, but this movie specifically, I feel like if you didn't have a background in like Marvel characters and stuff, you would not have understood it.
Yeah. It's definitely catered to like the geeks. Put it that way.
Like us. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
Like I mean, like it was a crowd pleaser, and I feel like a lot of people are big Marvel fans, and they really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. But I do want to talk about some negatives, though. One thing that I didn't like was a lot of the emotional moments were just like flashbacks from the previous Deadpool movies. I don't know if you noticed that. Like anytime there was some sort of like sad scene, it would just show old scenes from the other Deadpool movies. There wasn't really anything like that
with like his girlfriend.
Yeah. So I didn't really like that. I feel like they could have done some more emotional stuff. I mean, there was good stuff with Wolverine.
I think at the end there was the good like emotional thing where they were trying to sacrifice one of them, and then they ended up both doing it. But yeah, I can't really think of any other emotional scenes, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't need them because it's a comedy. But to put them in and them to just be like literally footage from the old movies, not like going back to moments, it was just a little strange.
Yeah, I would agree.
I also feel like the first third of the movie I was like really invested, but it kind of, as it goes on, I feel like it starts to fall apart a little bit.
In terms of what? The story?
The plot. Yeah, the story.
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess there's somehow an agent on the inside who's Pyro, and he is feeding information back to Mr. Paradox. Eventually, Cassandra Nova finds out. She gets out of the void, and then she wants to take over that machine that Mr. Paradox
the time worker.
It kind of like gets to that pretty quickly.
And when that scene happened, I was like, okay, she's gonna be, because she kind of does we didn't get to talk about this. Part of the like her power set is that she can't read like minds. She has to like physically get in someone's mind. So it actually makes for like a really cool scene. Is she'll put her hand literally through someone's head and kind of, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
she literally
fucks with their head.
Yeah, like boggles their mind.
Yeah. I don't want to say like fondle their face, but like it's like she literally just I don't know how to describe it without like
that might be the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, honestly, that is a good way to describe it. You just have to see the scene to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's very like body horror.
Yeah,
in a way, which I enjoyed.
It just
like was weird.
I loved it. I actually found out that is from the comics. Like she does that in the comics.
Yeah,
I thought that was something made for the movie.
One thing we didn't really talk about though is like the Deadpool corpse. They're not really utilized that well in my opinion. They're barely in it, but they have all this. Bro, we got the fucking $40 baby pool popcorn
Deadpool,
bucket, and he's in it for 1 second. I thought he was gonna be in the movie more.
Yeah, that I wrote down as like one of my complaints too. Like I really thought like they were in the trailers a lot, like Lady Deadpool and all them, and I feel like should have been a bigger thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Honestly, I enjoyed the Wolverine variants more than the Deadpool ones.
Yeah, because you saw their face, like, and they spoke.
They were more like distinct, like individualized. I feel like the Deadpool ones were very, even like So there was also, I mean, we're talking about spoilers anyway, but Lady Deadpool is revealed to be played by Blake Lively, but it's only her voice, so it doesn't even.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt weird, and then also there's like a cowboy Deadpool that's played by Matthew McConaughey, which another one I couldn't even tell it was him until after.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
me
kind
neither.
of a waste.
I could tell from Blake Lively's voice, and that's the spoiler that I said. I saw a small spoiler. I saw that that she was Lady Deadpool.
Yeah.
And they made a joke about it earlier in the movie, saying when Nice Pool was talking to Deadpool, and they were saying, excuse me, they were saying that Lady Deadpool recently had a baby and she still looks snatched. So I like put it together that was Blake Lively because she recently had a baby and she looks like she'd never had one.
That's something that I didn't even realize that until you told me after.
Yeah.
You know that the character of Lady Deadpool is actually inspired by Blake Lively, like way before she met Ryan Reynolds and all those people.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. In what way?
So the creator of Deadpool, Rob Liefeld, was like a big fan of the show Gossip Girl for some reason, and that's where she's from.
They also made a Gossip Girl joke in the movie.
Yeah. So when they were like, he said that her character on Gossip Girl was his inspiration for creating Lady Deadpool, because it kind of it's like they have the same figure, like the blonde hair. Like you look up Lady Deadpool panels from the comics, it does look like her a little bit.
Yeah. It goes full circle.
Yeah.
The Lady Deadpool joke, the Gossip Girl joke, was that Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool said something about having like 206 bones in his body, but when he watches Gossip Girl, he has 207.
Oh yeah, because his wife.
Because his wife is in Gossip Girl. Yeah.
Got it. There was another joke at the end. I just completely went out of my brain. I'll get back to it. But yes, what were we saying? Deadpool corpse underused a little bit.
The kid Deadpool too. He was the guy from Percy
Walker.
Jackson. Yeah, but I didn't even. That was another one I didn't know. And I found that after.
I feel like maybe what they should have done was when what's his face showed up. What's
Have
the
them all
guy's
take
name?
that mask off.
Yeah. Or had them just in the movie more.
Yeah.
Just like not that just one scene.
What were they even there for? They just show up for some reason.
So Matt told me the other day that his complaint was that he didn't really know why they showed up. But as I was watching the movie, I kind of caught on to why they showed up. So Cassandra Nova was basically like kind of their ruler. So Nice Pool, when he first came around, he was saying that all the other Deadpool variants are like, bad, like don't go near them to Deadpool. So he was saying like they're just like not good, they're not nice, like they don't mess with them because they're with the bad guys. So when Cassandra Nova came to wherever, I don't know where Deadpool was living, where it took place, it looked like New York.
Yeah, I think it was New York.
So when Cassandra Nova came to New York and was in the subway station, doing her thing, trying to take over the Time Ripper, she called them to come through that portal to like stop Deadpool and Wolverine from stopping her. So like they were basically her army, even though they were Deadpools. Yeah, but like all the Deadpool variants are like not evil but evil. Basically.
Yeah, like they just kind of work for her.
Like they work for her.
That at least makes sense as to why they're there.
It was like a subtle kind of thing that you had to have been paying attention to what Nice Pool was saying. And they came through the Loki,
The Doctor Strange.
The Doctor
Strange,
Strange thing, but it was from Loki's thingy. Didn't he have one?
Loki? No.
Oh,
it was
Cassandra
Dr.
Nold's,
Strange's?
Yeah, when
Cassandra
she's
Nold's
like,
sling ring.
she said, oh,
Okay.
when she said how she got it, she said, oh, like a parlor magician came in once,
Oh,
and
okay,
he had
yeah.
this thing on his
Yeah,
phone.
I'm sorry. I thought it was Loki.
No, that's okay.
I was getting confused, but
Oh.
yeah. So they came through her like portal thing from Doctor Strange's thing, and at the beginning of the movie, she had that ring thing.
Yeah.
So she made that portal.
Yeah. And I didn't
out.
realize it until you told me that after. But now thinking back, when she does get there, and she, goes to Mr. Paradox, and she's like, "You're gonna take me to the Time Ripper right now." He's like, "Oh, but what about these two?" And she's like, "Oh, I've got them handled. Don't worry."
Yeah.
And she's referring to the fact that she called in like the Deadpool
Reinforcements.
force. Yeah. So, but yeah, then there's the big climax of the movie. Cassandra gets to the Time Ripper. She's about to. What is she even gonna do? Like, she wants it to be only the void.
No, yeah, she wants to destroy every universe.
So that it's only the void.
So that it's only the void, which is like her home. She
Yeah.
loves the void.
Yeah. So the only way to disrupt her from destroying all these worlds is that they have to go in like the basement under the Time Ripper and disrupt the matter and antimatter that's coming together. So there's this back and forth of, who's going to do it, because supposedly if you do it, you're going to end up dying. And then Deadpool says, Wolverine, you could go, tricks him, actually goes himself, but then Wolverine goes in too, and they both do it together, save the day. I enjoyed that. I thought that was fine.
Yeah.
The music comes in at like that moment when they're both holding on.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman's shirt flies off.
Yeah, so you get your shirtless Marvel scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking back, I was telling Emily, like, every single Marvel movie just has a shirtless scene. So when we were going through the MCU, anytime one would pop up, I would just be like, oh, there's the shirtless Marvel scene right there. So yeah, that was the shirtless Marvel scene for this movie. And yeah, you have like Deadpool looking down and at the abs.
Yep.
He's still in amazing shape. He's like huge for.
Yeah.
He's in his 50s now.
It's crazy because he's like this theater kid that like once in a while he just works out and for like 6 months and becomes a Wolverine and then goes back to like singing.
Yeah. But yeah, then whatever, she gets destroyed. Wolverine ends up staying in Deadpool's world because he has nothing left for him back in his own world. And they also bring X-23 to that world. It's Deadpool asks Hunter B-15, who is from Loki, she's also in this movie. He asks her if she could save the people who were in the void with him. So that also implies that like Blade, Gambit,
the characters are gonna return.
are still alive. So we'll see what they do with this. The one thing that I don't really get, and I don't know how you guys felt about this, is like, I've thought for sure that the movie would end with Deadpool being in the MCU, but he's still not.
Yeah.
So if they have him show up again, or if they make another Deadpool movie, is it not going to be in the MCU? Is it going to be like a different world?
It's probably. I mean, I feel like by Secret Wars he's going to be in the MCU.
I feel like they can bring him in some way. What my idea was, which I don't know if this would actually happen, but they brought him into those other universes through the TVA. Yeah, through the time pad. So I feel like Hunter B-15, that's her name. She was like, "Oh, thank you" to them, even though they like caused a bunch of destruction. She was like, "Oh, thank you." So maybe she'll bring them. She'll be like, "Oh, this universe needs you."
Yeah,
and,
but why would he like leave all of his friends and family? That's really the whole.
Unless they all die.
I mean, maybe he'll go back.
Oh, you think he could go
like
back
maybe they'll bring him and let him go back.
We also forgot about this. There's a Happy Hogan cameo in the movie towards the beginning. Somehow Deadpool goes to it says that he went to the MCU in 2014 and tried to join the Avengers, and they basically were like, no.
Yeah, but I saw this thing on TikTok in Happy Hogan's office. It was like a picture of Iron Man.
Yeah.
But covering it that picture was a picture of him and Tom Holland's
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and it was covered because no one remembered him.
Oh, yeah. I actually forgot about that. You're right.
I liked that little thing, which
Yeah.
I didn't notice while watching it, but looking back, like they really included so many little details.
Yeah. That's funny though. That they kind of were like, "Oh yeah, Deadpool actually went to the MCU in 2014 and tried to join," because that was like when Tony Stark was alive.
Yeah.
Because the events of Endgame, I think, happened in 2023, right?
No, it's 2025, I think.
I don't know. Whatever it may be.
Yeah.
This was like while Iron Man was still alive, and Deadpool has that line where he's asking, where's the big guy? Because he's talking to Happy Hogan about joining the Avengers, and he's referring to Iron Man. Like, where's Iron Man?
At first, I thought he was referring to Feige because I wasn't like when the scene happens. I wasn't exactly like I didn't see the thing that said 2014, so I was confused about when the scene took place.
Yeah, but no, he was referring to Iron Man. Then Happy's like, oh, he doesn't do this kind of thing anymore, and Deadpool's like, what, cameos? Because it's like he's so big now that he wouldn't do cameos. I thought that was funny. Just kind of ironic thinking about what just got announced recently. Yeah. Overall, I think it's a good movie. It's not the best. The thing is, it's hard to gauge with these types of movies, especially like MCU. If you go on Twitter, it's like you see it's the greatest movie of all time. Then you see it's the worst movie of all time. There's no nuance to these conversations.
Yeah.
It's not, it's obviously not the best movie ever made. It's not the best Marvel movie by any shot.
No.
But, it's not the worst movie ever made. Like, what do
It's the
people
most
expect?
fun movie they've put out in a while. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. I just don't get what people expect. People are on Twitter like, oh, this movie is embarrassing. I would be embarrassed if I was Marvel to put this out.
I mean, first of all, I feel like Deadpool's a pretty niche character in its own. Like, there's only a specific type of person that likes, like, Deadpool kind of humor.
Yeah. It's just like, what this movie is.
Yeah.
You know the audience. You have to know going in what to expect. Like, why are you getting so mad on Twitter saying, oh, this is embarrassing? Like, are you that naive going into it to think that this is going to be some sort of,
It's supposed to be like that.
It's a comedy.
Yeah.
And it's made towards comic book fans. It's based on comics. This shit happens in the comics all the time, where they have random characters pop up. Characters die and come back. Like, it happens all the time in the comics. So, for a movie that's based on comic books, for that to happen and you to get mad just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But that's my little rant right there.
Fair.
Favorite characters?
Mine was honestly Cassandra Nova. I thought she was...
Me too.
I think that she was the best... Honestly, I think she wasn't even written that well. I thought she was doing just such a good job in the role that it made up for the writing. But she was, like, fantastic. There was almost like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory kind of Willy Wonka vibe to her. I don't know how to explain it. Like, very, like, almost whimsical.
I don't know. I mean...
I don't know about Willy Wonka, but I also liked her. I thought that she, gave, like, a certain vibe. Like, I feel like...
A certain vibe?
Yeah. I'm trying to think, Matt. She kind of gave, like, evil, but like
slay.
Yeah, but like slay, honestly. Like she's like a queen.
She's a queen, yeah.
She's the queen of the void.
I see what you're saying. I got you on that one.
But like I think that she was like my favorite performance, but like my favorite like in my heart was like the Gambit. Like I just he just made me happy.
It was cool to finally see like a live action Gambit done justice.
I think like if he didn't have that accent, he wouldn't have been my favorite. But he just his like he's just funny, goofy. Yeah. Like it was just like it made me laugh. Yeah, it was goofy.
Yeah, I actually chose Wolverine as my favorite character. Hugh Jackman's one of my favorite actors, and honestly, like if you take what this movie is, like put that to the side and just look at his performance, he still gave a fantastic performance.
Oh yeah, him and Ryan Reynolds were both great.
Yeah,
it's not. I don't think it's a disservice to them. I just prefer Cassandra. That's all.
Yeah. So I already said my favorite scene, which is the intro.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that that was my favorite scene too. Like it really just like the song, the bye bye bye, the dancing, it all really like,
Yeah.
was good for me. But secondly, I thought the fighting scene with the Deadpool army was cool.
Yeah, where Wolverine's wearing his cowl.
Yeah, where he's wearing the mask, where like Lady Deadpool's there, and like they kill them all. Spoiler alert! And then they all wake back up, like because Deadpool can't die.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there was that funny bit also with Nicepool, how he's the only Deadpool that doesn't regenerate.
Yeah, he's the only one that doesn't come back to life.
Yeah.
Uses him as a human shield.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually my favorite scene too. Was the Wolverine and Deadpool when they fight the Deadpool Corps. And there was that kind of one. It's like almost like the hallway shot where it's a one take of just them fighting a bunch of Deadpools, and Wolverine has the mask on, and it's the first time probably I think ever that we've seen him fight with the mask on.
Yeah, definitely in live action.
And then there's the end scene of this like them kind of jumping out of the bus. Like that's such a like cool shot. I mean, it played as a joke when he falls on the floor.
Yeah. But just seeing Hugh and I feel like he must have been so happy to just finally be wearing that. I know he said before, I think there was an interview when he said the first time he tried on the costume, he kind of was like, why have we never done this before?
Yeah.
And it just makes you think, like, why did they never do it? It doesn't really make any sense.
I really like the costume too.
Yeah.
They said when it came out, they wanted to look like kind of the Matrix, because that was really popular in the 2000s with the black leather. But after that, I don't understand. Because they have X-Men movies up until 2017 was the one Dark Phoenix? 2019 Dark Phoenix?
I think 2019.
At least with those, they have like the black uniforms, but they have their own colors.
Yeah, there was like
they started to do it.
Honestly, at the end of Apocalypse, they get the Mad Nice suits, and they just never wear them again.
Yeah.
This is probably the second best suit, if you want to call it a suit, is probably the Weapon X one.
Oh yeah, that's the one Emily from Apocalypse. Or not? Yeah.
I think is it Apocalypse?
Yeah, it is
I think
Apocalypse. It's when they're at Stryker's facility and they unleash Wolverine and he has like the thing on his head.
Yeah.
The metal machine. It's like from the comics. He has that look.
But now imagine they got to do a fight scene with that, but X-rated. I mean R-rated instead of PG.
Would be really cool.
PG-13.
But
yeah, one thing I forgot to mention this, like finally being able to watch Wolverine fight, like how he's supposed to fight, and how he's in the comics is really satisfying.
Yeah, and it's something they got into with Logan a little bit, but that was like an old man.
Yeah.
Kind of. This is him being really superhero-like and actually being able to stab people in the head and stuff. So.
Yeah, they honestly, I was surprised. They didn't hold back with like any of the blood or anything like like it. And honestly, it didn't feel like they changed anything from the previous two movies. Like it's the same kind of vibe, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a natural continuation from Deadpool 1 and 2. But all right, I think I'm ready to rate it. Unless you guys have anything else you want to add. Any more notes?
Oh, I mean, I have one thing that kind of pissed me off.
Go.
All right, so when they at the end when they pull up to Cassandra's in the minivan, do they know that Wolverine's in the back?
I think so.
I just thought it was so like the way that scene played out was just like so fucking stupid. Like he literally steps out of the trunk of like a Honda Odyssey with like this like music like I don't know what the song was in the background, but it just looks so strange to me. I don't know.
I don't know. That scene was really weird because I don't know. Like, was he surprising his team? Was he surprising?
I think he was surprising the team.
I was like, they all drove there. What do they not know he was in the trunk?
I think he was surprising the team because.
Because at night he says he's not gonna go.
X-23 was like,
so what did he
show up when the time comes.
Yeah, but what did he do? He's like, all right, I'm gonna go, and then just hid in the car all
Maybe
night.
he like fell asleep in the trunk of the car or something. He was drinking.
It was it was strange, Joe. I actually forgot about that, and I feel like that scene of like them all lining up is gonna get like shit on in the future.
Oh yeah.
That was one thing about this movie. I think it's gonna age poorly. But for now, I think it works.
Well, I think certain aspects, like I don't think the fight scenes are always going to be talked about.
Yeah, the jokes could age poorly, because a great comedy will make you laugh even when you already know the jokes. So I'm gonna have to see it again and see.
But honestly, I saw it twice, and some of the jokes I still laughed at.
Yeah. So maybe it is that's
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
All
What'd
right,
you
but yeah,
rate it?
we can move to ratings. I give it so yeah, I gave Deadpool and Wolverine 4 stars or an 8 out of 10. Like I said, I think it'll age pretty poorly, but I think for what it is and for the time that it came out, it is pretty great. It's a comedy above all else. But it also does have those, emotional moments with Wolverine's character that I think do work. The cameos are pretty great. And yeah, that's really all I got. So
I also gave it a 4. I feel like all the Marvel movies are pretty high for me, besides maybe like a couple, and I really just like enjoy watching them, so I give it a 4.
good. Joe, what you got?
I gave it a 3.5. I still really enjoyed it. Like I had a lot of fun watching the movie, but there's a lot of plot holes, in my opinion, that everything like action comedy don't make up for. But it's still really enjoyable.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I like I mentioned before, a lot of Twitter discourse is, oh, it's a 5-star movie. Oh, it's a half-star movie. It's neither of those two. It is a solid comic book movie that's pleasing to the fans and is funny. And it's not the worst thing ever or the best thing ever. So, yeah, I think we could move on now to some of our movie news for this week. Really not that much. The big thing we could talk about, I guess we'll save it for the end, is the San Diego Comic-Con Marvel announcements.
Yeah.
To start, I think we could talk about maybe the new Joker trailer. The trailer for Joker Folie à Deux, if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
You sort of get more of a look at the musical elements in this trailer. You hear Joaquin singing a little bit. You hear Lady Gaga singing a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's weird though that they're not advertising it as a musical.
They kind of are more in this.
I actually didn't know it was a musical.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to hide.
I never saw the first one. Was the first one a musical?
No.
Okay.
No. Like everyone I tell my friends that see it, like I'm mad hype for Joker. I'm like, yeah, it's a musical, right? They're like, they have no idea.
Bro, it's because musicals like don't do well
at the
box office.
I mean, I'm still, yeah.
Like one that we talked about on the podcast was Mean Girls. The marketing for that movie, they didn't market it as a musical at all.
Yeah.
So a lot of people probably went into it, and once they started singing at the beginning, were like, what the fuck? But just musicals just don't do well. So I understand why they try to hide it, but I do think it's obviously very dishonest.
Yeah. I mean, for them, I guess they just want to sell tickets, so they don't really care.
Yeah.
I like musicals, though. I'm excited.
Yeah. No, I love Joaquin. He's my favorite actor of all time. You saw this? There's a shot in this trailer where he's like really skinny. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So he did slim down again for this role. What did you think of Harley Quinn's look, like with them on stage?
I like that it's distinct. It's distinct because these takes on the characters obviously aren't comic accurate. It's kind of just Todd Phillips doing whatever he wants and slapping DC on it.
To me, it's like not Harley enough. I feel like she should do the full white face paint. But
this Joker doesn't feel like super Joker. You know what I mean? Like I don't mind.
Yeah, but at least he's got the full white face paint on.
She has it at some point in the movie.
I feel like she didn't. Didn't she have just the blue diamonds around her eyes, and that was it?
No. At the when they walk out of the courthouse, I think her face is white, and she has like the black stripes down her eye.
Yeah, you could be right. Maybe it just wasn't as like pale white.
I'm sure she's gonna get face paint. But I thought you meant in terms of like her outfit.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on in this trailer that I'm just like wondering how we're gonna get to that point. Like how do we
like stuff in their mind?
Yeah, because how do we go from him being locked up to them, having a talk show?
Yeah.
And like, I do think
getting married.
I think you're right. A lot of it's probably in their mind, but
this is the only way it's gonna. I mean, I feel how else would it be a musical? It's not like the cops are gonna start, breaking in song and dance with them.
They might. You never know.
What's his name from? I got excited when I saw him. because I'm watching. I'm like going through the Harry Potter movies now.
Oh, Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember for a while they said he was going to be in the movie. He plays like a guard at the prison.
Guard, yeah.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah, I love him.
Emily,
Even though
just to try to include you a little bit, I know you have like no understanding of any of this, but what did you think just watching the trailer?
I mean, I thought it was good. I'm excited to see Lady Gaga. I feel like I like her as an actress. I haven't seen Joaquin Phoenix in that many things, so I don't know. I want to watch the first one. So once I watch the
you'd
first
honestly
one,
like it.
You'll like it.
I know. I think I will like it, but I just don't really. I don't really know. But right now, all I can really say is I'm excited to see Lady Gaga.
Yeah. You liked her in A Star Is Born?
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's so good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that show.
No, but I've like seen clips and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, honestly, it doesn't really reveal much about the plot. Apparently, Harvey Dent's in it.
Yeah.
Which was like through the captions of the video, some characters talking and they're labeled as Harvey Dent. So yeah, Emily, that is that guy. He's another Batman villain. Did you ever hear of this guy? Have you ever heard of Two-Face or no?
I don't know anything about Superman, Batman, Joker, none of that.
All right.
That'll be next on our list of things to watch.
Yeah, that won't be as fun as the MCU. I'll tell you that. But yeah, I don't know, Joe. I don't really know if you have much else to say about it. It is sort of similar to that first trailer, but I just thought we would touch on it. So, we did get another trailer, which was the trailer for Terrifier 3, which releases this October. I feel like there's a lot of buzz building about this film.
Yeah.
And I thought the trailer was great. I really loved the vibe they were going for. I thought it was a well-edited trailer.
Me too.
What it shows of art was really cool. Really graphic scenes. And they're really going into that holiday horror kind of aspect.
Yeah. I still have to watch the second one. So I know that like there's another person in the trailer that's kind of dressed like Jesus that you said is like something to do with the second one. So
yeah, she's basically one of the girls in the first movie that gets
killed.
She gets like so fucked up that with her face that her face is like fully scarred. She has like one eye, and it's because of art. She's basically like an art survivor. But she appears, I think she's in the second movie like bits and pieces, but then at the end of the second, something happens where it makes sense for her to return. But I won't spoil it.
Yeah.
So.
Honestly, this is the biggest. Like, I feel like I'm seeing art stuff like all like I see it at Spirit Halloween. Like,
I know he's got Funko
T-shirts,
Pops,
Funko. So it's pretty crazy that it's big.
Yeah, and the guys from Staten Island. A lot of like the cast and crew are Staten Islanders.
Staten Island people. Yeah, one of my friends was in the second one.
Yeah,
me and Matt were at the mall one day when the Staten Island Mall when they were filming. We were going to the AMC in the mall and they were filming, so we saw like a little bit of the set, which I think will be cool when we watch it.
Yeah, but
I haven't seen the first or the second one, and I don't love clowns, so I'm not like so excited for that one. But I'm sure it'll be good.
I'll watch the first and second with you. Honestly, these movies, they're not known for like scary clown. It's more of being more of like very graphic.
I don't mind the gore and the graphic, as you could tell. I love the Saw movies, so
yeah. If you watch Saw,
I don't mind that. I don't like the creepy clowns.
I got you. We'll watch them because I do want to definitely check both of them out again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited for this. It made me think back to some like other Christmas themed horror movies. There's like Black Christmas, obviously. Silent Night, Deadly Night. There's that Krampus I've never seen, but that seems like a cool.
I feel like I haven't seen that many Christmas horror. I don't really watch horror movies unless I'm watching them with you. So
Ginger Dead Man.
Yeah.
Bro, Ginger Dead Man, I think 3. I think Ginger Dead Man 3 is probably, if not the worst, one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I think I saw the first one like a long time ago. Isn't it like they're cooking and she cuts herself and like blood gets in the
blood gets in the batter and then it makes like an evil gingerbread man. Yeah. That's the first movie. Bro, by the third movie, Hitler is in it.
What?
I'm not even kidding. Like, I can't even explain. That just goes to show how stupid and insane the movie
Yeah.
is. But yeah, I decided to like run through that franchise. It also collaborates as another franchise called Evil Bong,
Oh yeah.
like a bong to smoke. And they like collaborate. There's Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong. Sorry, we got off topic. But, no, I haven't seen that one, but I'll get to it. It's on my 1,600 plus film watch list that I'll probably never complete before I die. But, yeah, I'm really excited for this. I always thought like Terrifier was kind of stupid. Like I thought the first movie sucked, and
Yeah,
I was
I didn't like
this
the
is
first
dumb.
movie.
But once Terrifier 2 came out and I finally got around to watching it, I was like, all right, I'm sold on Art the Clown. I really like him, and I like how gory the movies are.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get like a horror icon that sticks.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this is the first one since probably like.
Well, Megan, I feel like is another one. She's not as big.
Not as big. Yeah, she could. I mean, with Megan too, maybe, but.
But yeah, what's like another horror icon?
The Saw puppet, maybe.
Yeah, Saw puppet. Billy the puppet. But in terms
I'm
like
trying to think of other horror movies, like
slasher villains that
I
are.
mean, maybe
like
in a
recent
Violent
ones?
Nature, that guy.
Well, yeah, they're making the. Oh yeah, I guess we could talk about that. But they're making In a Violent Nature too.
I kind of don't understand where they're gonna like.
Because he ends
go.
up like at peace by the end, right? They like put the necklace
I guess
back
another
and
group
everything.
of people are just gonna pull up, and he just
Maybe it'll be a prequel.
yeah, maybe it'll be
Right.
like when he first when the church burns down or whatever.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't really. I don't know what you thought about the trailer, Joe.
No, it looked good.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
So. All right, we can move on now to San Diego Comic-Con, which just happened.
Yeah.
Before we talk about Marvel, there was a panel for The Boys, which actually revealed a bunch of cool stuff.
There's also a DC panel too.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot. There's that DC trailer. You could talk about that.
Yeah, we got our first DCU trailer. We got the Creature Commandos trailer. It seems it looks good. We don't really learn too much about the plot. It's basically Suicide Squad, but with like monsters.
Yeah, the animation looks cool.
Yeah.
Is that Viola Davis? Is she voicing Amanda Waller?
Yeah.
Oh, that was her, right?
Yeah, it's her.
Yeah.
David Harbour's voicing Frankenstein.
There's a couple like notable castings.
Yeah.
Frank Grillo is in it.
Frank Grillo's in it. Alan Tudyk is playing Dr. Phosphorus. That's like the skeleton-looking guy.
Yeah.
He's actually a Batman Beyond villain, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
That's kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks cool. I know you're excited, Joe.
And I love like the kind of classic. And you like them too, the like kind of Universal monsters.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see them in a new form of media.
Yeah. And Emily, I forgot to tell you to watch this trailer, so you don't have to add anything.
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
Yeah.
But
also, I love the new DC logo. That's my favorite logo of DC. Is that star one? So I really like it. I know some people didn't say it looks old, but I prefer that logo.
Yeah, with like the way that James Gunn is sort of making his universe, that logo makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if you see that logo and that Superman suit, they go well together, you know.
Yeah. Very exciting what's going on. I feel like at DC, a lot of like positive things.
Yeah. So we could talk about the Boys panel.
Yeah.
One of the big things, Gen V is coming out 2025. And The Boys Season 5 will be 2026. So the next 2 years, we're going to have seasons of The Boys or The Boys adjacent shows,
which is nice.
Yeah, and there was also a big reveal, which is that they're making another spin-off called Vault Rising, which is going to star Jensen Ackles and Aya Cash as Soldier Boy and Stormfront back in the 1950s, sort of like when Vault was first starting.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to be interesting because we're going to get a bunch of like old-timey sort of heroes.
Got the power.
I like Jensen Ackles.
Yeah.
I watched him in Supernatural.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's honestly like the only thing really like selling me on this is for him. Is
Yeah,
like because I like Soldier Boy.
His character.
Yeah, Soldier Boy's really cool. But aren't they like both Nazis? Like I don't understand. Like what is the show going to be about?
Bro, if they're Nazis, what does that mean? Like, it still could be a good show.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, they're still gonna be not heroes, but they're gonna be super powered people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure they'll address the Nazi stuff.
Maybe they'll make them like fight like another country or something like superheroes. Like I'm trying to like I don't know what the story. Oh no, they'll probably be in like a war, like whatever war is going on.
Yeah. In the 50s, I wish I was a historian. Or not that you would have to be a historian to know that, but I just don't.
No, wait, they said the 50s or the 60s?
The 50s. I thought it was the 50s. Yeah.
I thought it was the 60s.
But yeah, Emily, I know I showed you some of The Boys, but
yeah, it's on my like watch list of things to watch. Like I do want to get there. Right now I'm kind of caught up in a couple other shows.
Yeah.
But it is really interesting, and the episodes I have watched I really liked.
Yeah, each character is kind of like
Yeah.
a messed up version of a different hero that you don't know. So like Jensen Ackles, he plays this guy called Soldier Boy. He's basically like the Captain America of this world. He has a shield.
I'd like that because I like Captain America. He's my I think he's my favorite like Avenger, and I like Jensen Ackles. So.
Yeah. If you watch The Boys, he's in I think season 3.
Yeah.
So,
but it's good that you watch it now because you've seen so many superhero movies at this point, so you understand.
Yeah.
It's like a critique on the superhero genre.
Yeah. We watched a couple episodes of Gen V.
Yeah.
Gen V's good. I like Gen V.
Gen V is cool, yeah. But in season 4 of The Boys, some of those characters from Gen V appeared in that season.
I see.
And they're gonna probably, with how season 4 ends, they're gonna be like more important going forward. So.
Yeah.
There's also like another The Boys spinoff. I think it's like
The Boys Mexico.
Yeah, The Boys Mexico.
With I think Diego Luna and the guy who plays Werewolf by Night are producing it.
Yeah, Gael Garcia Bernal, something like that. Anything with The Boys I like. Because like they've proved with Gen V that just any stories told in this world will be interesting.
Yeah.
Because Gen V is just The Boys, but if it happened at a college.
It's basically it's like their take on the X-Men kind of.
Yeah. So I'm excited for any type of spinoff they do.
Yeah.
But that was really it for that panel. Then they had the Marvel panel, which Emily was with me last night, which is when this stuff got announced. I was like refreshing my phone every second.
Yeah, bro. I was trying to find a stream of it, but I wish you could stream it.
Yeah. Dude, literally like right when the Russo Bros came on stage, Emily was like, "Can you go fill up my Stanley for me?" I was like, "You're literally like asking me to get you a soda when it's the fourth quarter with 10 seconds left."
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
That's okay. I forgive you. I got you the water.
He still got me the water.
It'll work out, man.
Great guy.
Yeah. But then as I was downstairs, I'm like, Robert Downey Jr. just got cast. You heard me screaming from downstairs. Anyways, yeah, Joe, you want to like run through from the beginning maybe? I feel like there wasn't really anything that notable, but
I mean, yeah, we can go through like I guess movie by movie. Well, the first one they showed off was Captain America: Brave New World. There wasn't really anything major revealed, just that adamantium is going to be introduced. That's like kind of what the plot's going to be about is how all these countries trying to get adamantium. Harrison Ford came out and spoke, which is I didn't expect that. Usually he hates this kind of stuff, so it was interesting to see him get up and he did almost like a Hulk impression on stage, which was really cool. Hulk. Red Hulk, I'm sorry. Right. What did you think of that? Because I was like really surprised he did something like that.
Yeah, just bro, there's so many people that hate on the MCU that are like, oh, these actors just do it for money, like no one cares. But then they have these events and like Harrison Ford, who's this old man that clearly doesn't he hates Star Wars.
Yeah.
And he's coming out on stage like doing a Red Hulk impression when he's like in his 80s, you know?
I didn't know he was that old.
Yeah, he's really
I also didn't know he hated Star Wars. Maybe I'm very just far removed from.
It's not that he doesn't like hate it necessarily.
He just like doesn't care about it.
He doesn't
want to be like.
He doesn't like the culture. So, for example, people will ask him questions in interviews like, oh, what do you think about like this really specific niche thing in Star Wars? Like,
And he's like,
I don't give a fuck. Like,
okay.
Yeah. But to see him be so excited about something like this, and it
He's
is,
happy.
yeah, it's just as nerdy.
Old people happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what my brother was saying though, Emily, a little bit. So like we watched the X-Men, Wolverine's claws. They're made out of adamantium.
Yeah.
So it's like a different metal than vibranium is what the MCU has. That's like what Black Panther's suit is made out of, Captain America's shield. So they're saying that adamantium is going to come from. Remember when Eternals ended? The Celestial emerged from the Earth, and it's like stuck there. So that Celestial is going to be made out of adamantium. So that's how they're going to like harvest it. And they're saying that that's going to be a plot point in Captain America 4, which kind of just shows like, all right, they're probably going to do Wolverine soon. So
That's good.
yeah,
Exciting. Then I'm trying to think what else. They also revealed like he's gonna Hulk out in the middle of a speech, which is kind of cool.
yeah.
Like
Because
that.
Red Hulk is supposed to be more intelligent. He's kind of like how Smart Hulk was in Endgame. He's just able to talk normally. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know what the context is going to be for him to do that, but
Yeah, people are saying
Maybe
like
maybe it's like a press conference or something, and someone asks him a question, and he just
I feel like
mad.
it could be something like that, where like he starts beefing with someone, or maybe could it be someone? No, it's not gonna be someone gonna try to kill him because they already had that in the first trailer. Like
yeah, but maybe they have like him attempted to get killed, and then he hulks out after. But it just didn't show it in the trailer.
That's true. But I mean, yeah, we'll see. It comes out February 15th, I think. That'll be the next Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Then they did Thunderbolts, but there wasn't really anything.
They showed a trailer, I think.
Yeah, they showed a trailer. There was nothing leaked about it. Red Guardian came out in like a new costume that he's wearing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Also, Lewis Pullman was on stage, who's like rumored to be
playing Sentry.
They just said his character is named Bob. But that's like Sentry's name is like Robert Reynolds.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much playing Sentry.
It's exciting to see Florence Pugh in the lead because she's such a talented actress. And this is the first time she's going to have a lead in a Marvel movie, right?
I really liked her in Black Widow.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite of like the newer characters that have been introduced since Endgame.
Yeah, like the new cast.
And Matt, like you said, Matt, she's another one where like people always like shit on the MCU. She's like one of the most talented actresses working right now. Like she's gonna be in the new Dune. She's gonna be a huge character in the new Dune movie. She does all these like
We Live in Time is gonna come.
She did Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
and she's doing the Thunderbolts. Like that's such a weird. It's not even a major character. She's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Fantastic Four, they showed a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah.
There was like a little reel that they showed that was kind of like test footage because they didn't start actually filming yet.
Yeah, all they did was like
they kind of got the actors in costume and just did some like short
reels
scenes. Probably like that won't even make it into the movie, honestly.
Yeah. We got our first look at Galactus.
Yeah, Galactus looks really cool.
Yeah. You can tell he's definitely like a giant cosmic being. It's not like a cloud or some type of. He's like a human, like not a human. He's like a human-looking figure.
Yeah, he's humanoid.
Yeah. Trying to think.
I like the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, it's very like retro future, kind of almost like the Jetsons. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. They even had the flying car.
That
went around Hall H.
Pedro Pascal looks. Honestly, he looks good in the role. We got to hear his voice.
Yeah, he's growing on me. At first, I really didn't like that casting, but seeing him, especially with the other cast members, like they showed him and Vanessa Kirby together, I could buy it.
Yeah.
I think I'll enjoy it.
So. Like Vanessa Kirby as an actress, so
yeah.
What
you remember? You've seen her in what? We saw her in Napoleon.
But also what's
Mission
the one
Impossible.
about? What's the one about where she loses the baby?
I haven't seen it. Is it a girly movie?
No, it's like a drama, but it's like her and her husband like have like a stillbirth. and it's like the aftermath of that.
She's good in that.
Yeah, she's really good in it. She plays the the woman that had the stillbirth, and it's just like so sad. The movie made me cry.
Yeah, when I show you the other Fantastic Four movies, then you'll sort of understand her character more of who she's gonna play.
The movie's called Pieces of a Woman.
Oh yeah,
I gave it 5 stars.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It's so good.
She's supposed to be the lead of the movie too.
Apparently, but I don't know. I feel like it'll just be co-leads, like her and Reed.
True.
I don't think
We
she's
also got
gonna
the
be
title
like,
too.
Yeah, I hate the title.
Fantastic Four: First Steps.
It's so stupid.
I don't mind. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's gonna have to do with like her having kids. First steps, like her kids' first steps.
That could be true. I think it's more of like the first steps of the team because it's saying that it's gonna take place right after they get their powers. That's
How do you feel about
you said?
I actually like. What do you think about that?
What, the title or the fact that they're gonna have
The fact
their
that they're gonna
powers?
start like it's gonna start right off when they have powers. Like,
They're better off that way.
yeah, I agree.
Because we've already had 2 different sets of Fantastic Four.
And it's not even like their origin is like super. It's literally just like they get hit with cosmic rays and get powers.
Yeah.
Like it's not,
Like they go to space, get hit with some sort of radiation, and get
It's
powers.
not like Batman.
They could
or, like,
show that origin in like 5
2
seconds.
seconds, yeah.
And it's not like they earned their powers. They just got it randomly. Like they don't have to be built up to or anything. But yeah, getting back to that title, not a big fan. I feel like it doesn't really roll off the tongue at all. It's the Fantastic Four First Steps.
Oh, it's the? I thought it was Fantastic Four First
No,
Steps.
it's the. It's such a dumb name in my opinion.
It's still very early. It could change.
I'm not against them having a subtitle for the name. I mean for the title, but I don't know. What do you think of that, Emily, as a title?
It's not really my favorite, but I feel like it makes sense if they're. I mean, I don't really know much about the Fantastic Four at all, but because we haven't watched the movies yet. But I feel like if they're gonna continue on, especially like if it's with the same cast, like kind of like their own, their own team, just a couple movies with them. Like I feel like it makes sense.
Yeah, but that would be like Captain America, the first movie.
Yeah, but it's Captain America, the first Avenger.
That's true, but that's like the first member of a team. It's not like this is his start,
What's their start?
But it was his start, the first Avenger.
Yeah, but the title itself is not saying like
it's not as good as Captain America, the first Avenger, but
I think it's gonna have
fine.
It has multiple meanings, like the first steps, like as in them as a team. I think it's also gonna be first steps, like as her kids are gonna have first steps.
Maybe I'm just.
That's what I think it is.
Am I just being a hater right now?
I think so. I mean, listen, it's.
Does the internet, like, for the most part, like it or dislike it? I haven't really seen much.
I feel like it's pretty. I mean, I haven't seen anybody like, oh, I hate the Fantastic Four. You're the only person I've seen like that you don't like it. I feel like everyone's like, all right.
Yeah, maybe I'm just being a hater.
It's not amazing. I'm not like, holy shit, first steps, but
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, we could talk about the elephant in the room now.
Yeah.
The next 2 Avengers movies.
Yeah, so we got revealed May 2026 and May 2027 will be Avengers 5 and 6. 5 is going to be Avengers Doomsday, and 6 will be Avengers Secret Wars. Both will be directed by the Russo brothers. And I forgot, the writer from Endgame and Infinity War will be returning as well. But the big news is that they cast Doctor Doom as Robert Downey Jr., which they said before they announced the cast, like, we needed like the best actor and of all the possible like multiverse. So I'm assuming this is gonna be like a multiverse variant of Iron Man or of Doctor Doom. I'm not sure how they're gonna play it off. Yeah, I'm honestly not the biggest fan of it. I feel like first of all they're only doing this because of what's going on with Jonathan Majors. Like if none of that happened, this would have never. We wouldn't be getting like a Doctor Doom right away.
It's not like this was a master plan that they had up their sleeve. This was definitely reactionary.
Yeah.
So it could have been something that they were planning to do eventually, but just maybe moved it up because of what happened with Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
Maybe the villain of Secret Wars would have been RDJ as Doom, regardless.
Or maybe he would have appeared as a version of Doom, but like maybe not like the main villain or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna hold off my judgment until we know more because it's
Yeah,
too
it has nothing
early.
to do with the talent of RDJ. I'm sure, like when push comes to shove, if this, and also I don't want to reiterate about all of these announcements. Is their announcements 2 years ago? They announced a whole ton of stuff about like Avengers, Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars, and all this stuff. And that they end up canceling Kang Dynasty, so things could change. But being that it's coming out basically less than 2 years from now, it seems that it's probably going to happen.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
I
I
think
don't
that
like the idea of them rushing Doctor Doom for the sake of fan service.
yeah, I think that it's definitely gonna be a temporary villain. I don't think that
Yeah,
this is gonna be the Doctor Doom moving forward of this universe. I think this is just gonna be like a multiversal threat because keep in mind we're still in the multiverse saga. So having a multiversal villain as the main villain of everything
yeah,
makes sense. So I think that if they say, "Oh, this is a Tony Stark variant," that maybe maybe the events of Avengers Endgame happened and he didn't end up saving everyone and he had to live with everyone dying, so it drove him to insanity and he
yeah,
becomes a version of Doctor Doom. That could work. If they're just like, "Oh, this is Victor Von Doom, but he just happens to look like Tony Stark," like that's just so dumb.
yeah.
Um, so that's why I'm holding off my judgment. I'll see.
I wonder if
Yeah,
they're gonna like do the whole like Latveria, because that's how like his country. He's like the ruler of a country.
yeah,
I wonder if they're gonna. That's an aspect of Doctor Doom that I've been dying for them to do in in the movies or in media, but they just never have done it. They never even even in the original two Fantastic Four movies. Like, I don't think they've even mentioned Latveria at all.
yeah. I don't remember. They probably maybe said it like in jest here and there, but
Yeah,
or not in jest, in passing.
yeah,
Probably the better way to say that. But yeah, Emily, I know you don't really know much about like Doctor Doom. He's basically the villain of the Fantastic Four, and he's like a big Marvel villain in general,
yeah.
kind of like on the same level of Thanos. What do you think of Robert Downey Jr. coming back?
I don't know.
Well,
I
I feel
feel
like you have
like
to give her more context to Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is kind of like if you combined Iron Man and Doctor Strange. Like he's very good with technology, but he's also he's like very good with magic too.
hmm,
So
okay.
that's where they're kind of getting like the
Yeah. I feel like it would depend on how they go about it. Like if it was a Tony Stark or like an Iron Man variant, like Matt said, like I feel like that might work better
yeah,
than it just being like someone that looks like Iron Man. I feel like for someone like me or, the average moviegoer that's not like super invested in all of this, it's going to be confusing. I feel like either way, it might be confusing. If you just go in and watch that movie, it
yeah,
wouldn't be like be able to be like just a standalone movie you watch because
Yeah,
Iron Man was in so many movies. Like he has Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 and he's in like all the Avengers movies and all that. So I feel like it's going to be a little weird and it's going to depend on how they go about it. Um I liked the reveal that he
yeah,
did. I thought it was really cool. I saw it this morning and it was like him in the mask and then he revealed that it was him.
yeah,
I feel like I told Matt before, I think that if he's in a mask the majority of the time also like that would be fine. Like I mean
yeah. I
like I
hope
feel like
so.
that would be fine. Like if it's just his voice, like not everyone would be able to tell. Like someone like Thanos, like he was in CGI and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So that
but
it wouldn't have mattered if Thanos was played by someone that
yeah,
was already in the MCU. I guess I don't really know enough about Doctor Doom to say that, but
no, but you're right because he in the comics like 99% of the time he wears his mask. Like
like
you
maybe
never
he
see him without his
yeah.
mask.
Like maybe
So
he'll just be in the mask the whole time and you won't even know it's Robert Downey Jr.
I hope that is, but knowing Marvel and
yeah. It's
RDJ is
not.
such a high attained like actor, I just
Yeah.
want not. They're gonna make him not wear the mask a lot, and it's very frustrating because like I don't think Matt, have you ever seen a panel of Doctor Doom with his mask off from the comics?
I don't think so. Maybe like one.
He's like never takes his. I think that's like part of his thing. It's just like he just never takes the mask off.
Why doesn't he have like some sort of facial defect or something? Like he like scarred his face and that's why he wears it? Or
I
no?
think that's just from the movies, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold off my judgment. People are just so reactionary these days and like this is the best thing ever, this is the worst thing ever.
Well,
It goes back to like Deadpool and Wolverine, the same thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
We just don't know enough, really. This could be handled perfectly, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could turn out perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can argue that Doctor Doom is Marvel's most compelling character, and to rush him for fan service just kind of. I know it's going to be a multiversal thing, but I don't. Like you said, it's very reactionary. I
feel like they might not have rushed him for fan service, but rushed him because of the whole thing with Jonathan Majors, and they had to. Do something.
No, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like it's like they're doing this because they know people will come to the theater to see Robert Downey Jr. Like all the MCU people love him already. He's a good actor in general, and they're just doing it kind of to replace Jonathan Majors. But I feel like they should have done another. I don't know.
Now that I was like talking about it a little bit, I kind of feel like he was always going to come back as Doctor Doom, but in Secret Wars. And they just...
If he would have been like just a Doctor Doom in Secret Wars, just that happens to be in it, I would have been okay with that. But I don't like the idea of him being where he's like front and center, like the main villain, and it's not even like with the because he's supposed to like fight the Fantastic Four and then eventually get big enough where he fights like the Avengers and everybody else.
Isn't he supposed to be in the Fantastic Four movie? Or no?
Yeah, he is. Apparently in a post-credit scene.
Do you think he's gonna be the Doctor Doom of their universe? Because that's supposed to take place in another universe.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. And also it could be because Fantastic Four is set in the future. So maybe like he was Iron Man in their past.
No, I think it's supposed to be in the past, but it's like a retro future past. Like it's supposed to be in the 60s, I think.
No, I think it's like styled off the 60s. Like it's supposed to be like the Jetsons, where they use all sort of old school aesthetics. Like same thing with Fallout. In that you watch some of the show, it's like a retro future. They're in the future, but they have this retro equipment and like all this stuff. So I think it's going to be like that. Like it takes place in the future, but they just have a retro aesthetic. So I think maybe they could explain it as, oh, back in the day, this guy was Iron Man, but in the future he ends up becoming Doctor Doom. That could work if that's how they explain it. But they also could have their own Doctor Doom in that universe, and it won't be the same one.
I kind of hope he's just like a Doom. Honestly, I would have rather him just done an evil Iron Man variant, like a superior Iron Man or something like that.
No, I agree with you. I think that a perfect villain to Secret Wars would be an evil version of Iron Man.
Or how about this? They could have done Avengers 5 could have been like recast Kang and make Kang basically recruit an Avengers team of like evil Avengers. Like they could do like Captain Hydra, like Superior Iron Man, like just all different people, have them fight the MCU, and then that'll lead to Secret Wars, and then they just do that. Secret Wars will be with Kang.
Well, it's too late for that.
I know.
Jonathan Majors just like ruined everything.
Yeah, I know.
Wasn't that?
I feel like that's like a better. I would prefer something like that.
I don't know.
Because like I think Secret Wars like that was always happening. Just now, it's going to be Doom instead of Kang. Like, the same things are going to happen. It's just they're replacing Doom with Kang, essentially.
Yeah. But at least the good thing that comes out of this is Fantastic Four are going to be in Avengers 5.
Yeah, so it was also... the four... There's like four confirmed... Not characters, I'm sorry.
Teams?
The characters confirmed in the Avengers Doomsday so far. Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange... the Fantastic Four, and the Thunderbolts. Which is kind of interesting, because I don't know what the hell the Thunderbolts are going to do.
Yeah, what is Red Guardian going to do against Doctor Doom?
Or Taskmaster, or Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess we could move on. But that's probably like the craziest thing and the biggest thing that Marvel's ever revealed at like a Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything that tops that. Like
maybe
even
maybe
like
the Thanos casting was big, but
even bringing out Mahershala Ali as Blade and announcing they're doing a Blade movie, that was big.
yeah,
But
that was
it's not
big.
even close to this.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy. He literally just won an Oscar, and he's coming back to do this.
I know. Pretty
That's
wild.
crazy.
All right, but
yeah, we'll move on.
I guess we can move on to the final film of the day. I could let you introduce this one, Emily, a little bit because it's recommended for you because you love it. So
Okay, so Manchester by the Sea is about this guy. His name is Lee Chandler, and after his older brother passes away, he's forced to return back to his hometown to take care of his nephew, who is 16 years old. In his hometown, he has to deal with his tragic past that separated him from his family and the community where he was born and raised. So that's basically the little synopsis. The main character is played by Casey Affleck, and the 16-year-old nephew is played by Lucas Hedges.
yeah. So to start off, I love this movie. I thought it was great. It's very sad. You're making us end on a downer here, I have to say.
Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
It was really sad.
But
I
the main
don't-
thing that stuck. Sorry to cut you off there.
No,
Greg,
you're
but
good.
the main thing that stuck out to me was Casey Affleck's performance. He was fantastic. It was like
Yeah.
such a nuanced performance, and just like his role was very delicate. I don't know if that makes sense, but
It was raw.
yeah, it was just like
his performance was very raw.
He almost like not in a bad way, but like almost like emotionless. Like he's very like somber and like I don't know how to explain
Yeah.
it.
he's just an incredibly jaded and broken character.
He's
Yeah.
like incredibly depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I like how when the movie started, I was kind of like, why does this guy just feeling sorry for himself? Like I didn't really like him. I was like, just grow
Yeah.
up.
But I think
Like, why are you
that's
being
kind
so
of like
sad?
the beauty of the movie, like the way it is like the way the story is portrayed. Like at the beginning, like you never would think that that's what happened to him and that's why he is the way he is,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, because what I was getting at was that it starts off with you not understanding why he's like this and kind of being annoyed by him, but then
Yeah.
as you learn more and more about his past and what he's been through, you like fully understand why he
And
is this
why.
way.
Yeah.
yeah. In the beginning, I was a little confused because it's like it shows segments of like him, like I don't know if like it's a spoiler to say this, but I guess we'll talk about
Flashbacks.
spoiler.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could spoil it. I don't think anyone really cares.
Like the scenes with his family. Like I was confused at first. I was like, does he
Mhm.
have? Is that in the present with his family now? But then like later on, they show like
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah, they sort of hint also that he has some issues with alcohol.
Yeah.
Like when he went on the boat and he was like, I had like 12 beers or whatever it was, like 8
Mhm.
beers.
Yeah.
But he's like incredibly happy in those moments, like with his wife
Yeah.
and with his children. And
So you see like the contrast between like him now and how he was in the past.
yeah, and honestly, I even noticed. I think those scenes are like lit differently. Like the color grading was brighter in those flashback scenes compared to the present. It was very gray and dull.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that was good visual storytelling, just helping the audience to differentiate between what was going on, and it represented like how he felt as a person.
Yeah.
So,
And I feel like it's just a lot of symbolism. And I really like that in movies, and it was so emotional.
Yeah.
Should we give a little bit of context?
yeah, you can give some
Yeah.
context.
So, basically, this guy, Lee Chandler, he grew up in this town in Massachusetts. They all have, big Massachusetts accents. And his brother had a heart condition, and he ended up passing away. So he's called back to his hometown. He lives about an hour away, or a couple hours away, maybe. He works as like a handyman, janitor, wherever he works now, and he lives in this like 1-bedroom like apartment. Maybe not even 1 bedroom, like a studio apartment in the basement of one of the buildings that he is like the handyman of. So that's a little bit about like his life now. He gets called back to his hometown to take care of like his brother's arrangements and to take care of his 16-year-old nephew, who is now alone because his mother is like out of the picture. And Lee Chandler didn't know this, but his brother named him his nephew's guardian. So he's dealing with that. But at the same time, we get these flashbacks of, you know, Lee Chandler with his family. He's so happy. He has 3 children and a wife. His wife, his name is Randy, and she's played by Michelle Williams, who also gives a very good performance, I feel like.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, she's always good, but she was very great in this like emotional role. And then in one of the flashbacks, he has like his guy friends over for, you know, a night of drinking. It's like 3 a.m. and the wife comes downstairs and is like, my kids are sleeping, like get out, whatever. So everyone leaves, and then Lee Chandler, he's had a couple beers. He leaves the house to go down to like a mini mart type of situation.
Wait, just to cut you off for a second. He had a lot of beers and then did coke.
Oh,
so he was like up and he needed more beer, which is
Okay.
why he left.
Sorry, I forgot to mention
yeah.
that.
I just
But yeah, so he wanted more alcohol, and so he went down to the mini mart. He walked there instead of drove because he had a lot of beers and the cocaine. So he walked there, and on his way back, you know, he's thinking nothing happened. But he gets to like his block where his house is, and he sees like the fire. So his whole entire house was lit up in flames. And he gets there while like I think the EMS, the EMS people are there with the wife on a stretcher. The wife is like screaming that her children were in there. But then you eventually see like the house go down. None of the children were saved. So he lost his 3 children. His wife, you know, was a wreck. Obviously he was a wreck too, but she ended up blaming him because he left the fireplace open, unguarded. So he thought that maybe a log rolled out of the fireplace and caught fire on curtains or something. So, you know, he blames himself, and that's why he's so somber. And his wife blamed him and said a lot of mean things to him, which gets revealed a little bit later. And they obviously end up divorcing. So he's faced with this past, but also not just his wife blaming him. Everyone in the town basically blamed him. So he had like no friends in the town. So he's like, he doesn't want to be there. He wants someone else to take over. Sorry, this is such a long description, but it's just such a complex. It's such a complex. Detail, It's just such a complex thing. So he comes back to the hometown, and none of the neighbors, you know, want him around, and nobody will give him a job. He wants, you know, his friend to take over guardianship, but he won't. So he's like, oh, we'll move to
Boston.
Boston, wherever he lives. And the nephew's like, no, I don't want to do that. So Lee is really trying his hardest to give his nephew the best he can. His nephew's name is Patrick.
You can tell he's conflicted too, because he knows that he's not willing and capable to take care of a kid.
Yeah, and he knows he's like he wasn't a good father. He thinks.
But he wants to make sure at the same time that
his nephew
gets, you know, the best life that he can.
Yeah.
So you could definitely tell that his character is conflicted, because he tries his best. You know, he drives him to wherever he needs to go. He picks him up. He gives him money.
But he's like just so like Joe said. I think somber is the right word. To describe him. He's just so like, he's monotone. He's just like flat. He has such a flat affect.
Yeah.
But like Matt said, like at the beginning, you're like, why is he like this? But then you see why he's like that, and then you see him try to work through it as best as he can.
And it's interesting because, at least from what I took from it, he's not a bad person.
He made a mistake.
He made a mistake. It happened to be a very crucial mistake that killed a lot of people.
Yeah, his family.
Yeah. He didn't... Does he deserve to be shunned for the rest of his life by everyone? Probably not. But it's just like... It's a very tricky area because... Especially when you have kids involved. Yeah. and it's because of him being irresponsible. You
Yeah.
know, the drinking, the drugs.
Yep.
But he's not really a bad person. So.
And he really like truly wants the best for his nephew, but
Yeah.
he just he's faced when he comes back to the hometown, he's faced with like being there or being there for his nephew, kind of.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like being able to take himself out of it and like be okay. Like he's like not okay when he's there. Like he's like, you know, he's one time he fell asleep with something on the stove and like he had a dream of his daughter saying, "I'm burning."
No, that I was gonna mention that. That I think was one of the best scenes in the movie. That was my favorite scene. Not because I watched it and I was like, "Yay!" Like
it's just such a good scene.
He falls asleep on his couch with sauce on the stove, and it starts burning. And you see him sort of wake up, and he sees his daughter next to him, and he's like, and the daughter's like, "Daddy, you can't tell that I'm burning right now?"
Yeah.
He's like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "I'm burning." I actually got chills. And then he like woke up, and the fire alarm was going off.
It was honestly like scary is the wrong word, but like it's like scary.
Haunting.
It's haunting. Yeah.
Chilling.
Yeah. And then also with Michelle Williams' character, she still lives in the town, and she's like, you know, like obviously she's still grieving and all of that, but she moved on. Like she is now, I think she's married again.
Yeah, she's married. She has a kid.
Yeah, well, she was pregnant at first. She called him up and was like, "Oh, can I come to the funeral?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm like 8 months pregnant."
Yeah.
So she wanted to call him first and like not be a total surprise. But then, like, towards the end of the movie, she had the baby, and she sees him walking in the street, and she asks him if they can talk for a sec, and it's just like that was my favorite scene, where like they're talking. You know, Michelle Williams' character Randy is crying. She's like, "Oh, can we get lunch?" And he's like, I can't. Like he's just like he can't face that, at least not yet. And he like could barely face the fact that she had her own like a new baby when their 3 kids, one of them was a newborn baby boy died. And I cried at that scene. The second time I watched it, I got like choked up, but I didn't actually cry. But the first time I watched it, I was actually like sobbing. Like
that was a great scene.
So it's just so raw, and like he ended up being like, "I can't do this," and walked away from her. And I thought that was a very powerful moment for Lee. Like I feel like he was like, I can't do this.
Yeah, and her coming to him, she's apologizing because she realized, yes, he did fuck up and he kind of ruined our life together. But he still is a good person, and he made a mistake.
He made a mistake.
Her, you know, it doesn't say exactly what she said to him.
Yeah.
But it's probably implied that she, probably wished death upon him and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So the fact that she was able to apologize to him, but he also probably still thinks that he is a terrible person. Yeah. He probably believes all the stuff that
he would
said.
believe that forever, but at least he is able to deal with it. Like at first, we didn't mention this. I'm sorry, I keep talking. But at first, after this first happened, like the morning of, he was in the police station, and spoiler alert, but he ended up grabbing one of the cops' guns and trying to kill himself. Yeah. He tried to shoot himself in the head. And that was also like another huge moment. Like I feel like he could not deal with it.
That was right after.
Obviously, he couldn't deal with it. But
that's like he confessed to having like cocaine and stuff.
Yeah. Like obviously, like in any situation, like you wouldn't be able to deal with that. But he like that physical scene was in the movie, but then like at the end, I feel like I connected that scene when he was talking to Randy and he walked away. Like he couldn't handle it, so he knew how to get himself out of the situation, which obviously he couldn't do at the beginning, but just showing a little bit of his growth since then, even though he still has that flat affect, depressed,
Yeah.
I just thought the movie was very powerful overall.
Yeah, Joe, we've been hogging it a little. I don't know.
Sorry.
No, I mean, it's just, you guys pretty much summed it up.
What did you think, though?
I enjoy, I mean, these movies aren't really like my, like, kind of...
Yeah. It's like a
depressing...
Slow burning melodrama.
Yeah. I do like the performances, But I mean, yeah, it's just like his like what he did is just so like. I understand he's not like obviously he's not a horrible person, but it's like like I don't know. It was hard for me sometimes to like. Obviously,
Sympathize.
yeah. It was just I don't know. It was like really
Yeah.
like irresponsible. I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to sound like an asshole.
No, but you're right. I mean, not that he. I don't know what the wife said to him, but
Yeah.
you know, it's
I don't think he
100% his
deserved to
fault.
die and shit. I'm just saying, like what he did was,
Yeah, it's 100% his fault.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
um,
So that's
yeah.
why sometimes it's hard for me to sympathize. And then like the scene of him, like he falls asleep with the stove on.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, dude, like.
Yeah. No,
When that happened, I was like, Jesus Christ! I remember sitting there, like I was like stressed out. I was like, holy shit, this guy's gonna do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I want to bring up also the nephew, Lucas Hedges.
yeah,
He gave it a fantastic performance as well.
yeah.
He plays the older brother in mid-90s, Joe. I don't know if you remember.
I know he looked familiar.
He's also the love interest in Lady Bird.
Yeah, the is he the one that's actually gay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
But he was fantastic in this. Just his chemistry, the back and forth banter with Casey
Yeah.
Affleck was really good. The fact that, you know, he kind of acts like Casey Affleck's character, or Lee. He acts like Lee is so annoying to him, and he's like doesn't want to move back with him. But then when
Yeah.
Lee at the end is like, I'm gonna go back to Boston and let you stay here, he like starts crying. You know, he
Yeah.
gets upset because he actually does care about him.
Yeah.
But one of my takeaways from the movie was just like, these things happen in real life. Like, how do you live with yourself? Like, that's really what this movie is about.
Yeah.
Learning how to live with yourself when you make a mistake of that,
Like that, yeah.
magnitude.
And that's like one of the worst, not like the fire, but like just that being that irresponsible, I
Yeah.
feel like is one of the worst.
Yeah,
things
because
you
like
can do.
it's
Yeah,
completely.
like, can you imagine the guilt you feel? Like,
Yeah.
because he like his whole family basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that that happens and you just have to like.
But you can
Like,
also
life,
go to work
life,
the next
life
day.
doesn't stop for anyone.
Yeah.
You know, there's
you can compare it to, you know, car accidents and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's actually a good
Just-
comparison.
Like I feel like that would happen. That car accidents are very common. Like even if you're the parent that's driving and God forbid one of your kids in the back is like unbuckled and you end
Yeah.
up getting in a car accident,
Yeah,
you would still blame yourself for not telling them to put the seatbelt
the
on. It's not
seatbelt
to
on,
that
yeah.
gravity, but it's, you know,
Yeah, this is,
safe,
like, more-
how
Like,
do you live with
he's
yourself?
like the guilt. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking like if I did this, I actually don't even know what I would do. Like I don't know how I'd be able
Yeah.
to live with myself. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting story to see it from that perspective. And like I said, it makes it even more interesting that he's not necessarily like a bad person. So it's like, do you feel sorry for this guy? Do you,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
is he an asshole? Like it's just makes for a very complex character
yeah,
and story. I like how it kind of ended on a positive note
Yeah,
or a hopeful note.
yeah,
I think he learned a lot from being with his nephew in that time and sort of opening himself up again to
Yeah.
communicating with people and sort
And
of
being like a father figure.
yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know. I liked how it was hopeful, but I didn't think they fully stuck the ending. I don't know what I would have preferred, but I feel like there was something missing with
What?
how the story ended. I kind of wish like they ended up staying together, him and the nephew. I didn't like that he was like, oh, I just let these people be your caretaker.
Yeah, that's like another thing that kind of bothered me a little bit is like I thought after going through that experience, and like obviously he cares for the kid. I thought maybe that would motivate him to want to like
Yeah,
stay
'cause
with him.
He could like quote unquote make things right by making it up.
Yeah, like that's what I thought. That like when they left him in the will, like when that first happened, I was like, oh, he's gonna like kind of this is where he'll like forgive himself by like being responsible, take care of like his brother's kid. I didn't think that like it was gonna that it end that way.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite scene, Joe, or no?
The burn, like the one you said, the burning scene.
That was crazy. I feel like the scene that everyone knows is him grabbing the gun.
Yeah,
from
that
Pop's
scene,
holster.
that's like a popular like kind of meme online.
Yeah, it's honestly
I
like
didn't
a
know the
meme.
context behind it now.
Yeah. But it's like, oh, me when this happens. And
Yeah,
then
like
it'd
I
be,
didn't
like,
know
that
how
Yeah.
dark the
video.
context was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, favorite characters, Lee. I
Yeah, I
guess.
think
Yeah.
mine is Lee. I think Casey Affleck's performance was so good.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like you obviously you don't love his character because you know what he did, but like his just performance was so good. And something I wanted to say was I thought he was like so great, but he's not in that much. I feel like
Yeah,
he's not
I
like
haven't seen him in-
at least in a leading role.
He
He's
was in
really not in
Oppenheimer.
that much.
Oh,
Joe.
really? Who do you play in Oppenheimer?
He was in it for like a couple scenes, but yeah, compared to his brother, Ben Affleck
Yeah.
pops up in a lot of stuff, and this was honestly like the best performance I've seen out of either of the two of them ever. So
Yeah.
I think he must have won the Oscar this year. I think he did.
I think he did.
Casey Affleck. I'm pretty sure he won Best Actor this year. Let me see.
What year did it come out? 2014
Yeah, he won in 2017
or 2017?
for
Yeah.
Best Actor.
Yeah, so I'm surprised he hasn't really been in much.
He
But-
probably just wants to chill.
Don't blame him.
But,
But I wish he was in more because I want to watch more of his movies.
Did he like ever say anything about the like? Because I'm assuming he had to go to some dark places to get that kind of performance.
Well, I'm after this episode, I'm gonna watch his Oscar speech. I'm just curious, but yeah, I mean,
Because
it was a
to
great
go to
rep,
that
though,
place
Emily, but
like
Yeah.
to get like that kind of somber and dark every single day for like a 3-month shoot's got to be kind of
yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
which was more profound, this or Deadpool and Wolverine? Yeah, we had we took some crazy turns in this episode, I would say.
Yeah. Quite a range of movies.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to rate it though, unless anyone wants to
Yeah.
add anything. Closing thoughts, Emily?
It's
Nothing?
one of my favorites. I want to put it on one of my favorites on Letterboxd.
All right, so I guess for my rating, I gave it a 4.5 star or 9 out of 10. It all really stems from Casey Affleck's performance. That was my main takeaway. He's just so fantastic in this role. He does such a great job at portraying this just completely jaded and just broken character. I loved where they went with the story in terms of how he communicated with his nephew and just how the whole story unraveled, where you don't know everything at the beginning, but it sort of gets revealed as it goes. I thought that was very well done. So, who wants to go next?
I gave it a 3.5, so I give it a 7 out of 10. I wasn't as high as you wanted, but like you said, Casey Affleck's performance is really what like sold me on the movie. It's just such a somber and I know that sounds like a negative thing, but like I'm trying to portray like it's just a good like his performance in that acting like that is very good. I'm not
Yeah.
No, yeah, I got you.
but you know, I obviously like kind of I'm not as sympathetic as maybe you guys were to him what his mistake in the story, but you know,
Yeah.
that's why I'm kind of not as high on it as you guys.
Yeah. I gave it 5 stars. I love this movie. I think it's very powerful and like all of us said, like just the messages that are portrayed in this movie are very, powerful and they stick with you. And this is just a movie that has really stuck with me, and I feel like even just from me talking about it, like I remember so much about it, and I feel like me as a moviegoer, like I don't remember every little thing that happens a lot of the time. Like even when we were talking about Deadpool, like I don't really remember a lot unless I really, really, really love the movie. And this one is one of the ones I really love. And I think it's just great all around. But it is very sad. So sorry to end on a sad note, but go watch this movie.
Well, yeah, thanks for telling me to recommend it because it was one that was on my watch list for a while.
Yeah, I remember you said you were going to watch it by yourself. And I said, wait for me because I want to watch it too.
Yeah. If I watched it by myself, I might have been
More emotional.
yeah. But all right. Anyways, we can move on to our last segment of the day. We got a little Q&A. So let me see if we have any questions from the fans. I think we have a couple. Just give me 1 second here. I think they might be catered to you, Emily. At least one of them.
That's okay.
So the first question is from @Megxilomaniac on Instagram.
It's my cousin Megan.
Hi, Emily's cousin Megan. Thank you for the question. So she asks, here's a hard one. Tell me about a movie that you actually think is better than the book.
This is a hard one because a lot of the time I do think that the books are better than the movies. There's a couple that I made this list on Letterboxd that is called movie/book adaptations, just so I can keep like a running list of like books that I want to read and movies that I want to watch, like kind of together.
Yeah.
And not all of them are on here, so I could be missing something. But something recently that I thought was better than the book was Killers of the Flower Moon. I thought the book was really good, but I think that putting it in, visual format really solidified the story. And I think you talked about that movie on a different episode of this podcast. Yeah. But I read the book after watching the movie, and it was very powerful, but I do think the movie stuck with me more than the book. Another random one, I think the first Harry Potter movie, I think the first book is not as good as the movie, because I feel like the movie really creates the world. Yeah. Like there's more in the movie like that you can visually see descriptions of things. And J.K. Rowling's a great author for her Harry Potter series, and I do think some of the books are better than the rest of the movies, but the first movie really solidifies, like, you can see all the little magical elements and the house elves and the town, which I really loved seeing in Universal.
You just got to feel for how the world works, what it looks like, just the vibe that can't necessarily be told in words. Like,
And I don't think the first Harry Potter movie is the best one by any means, but I do think
it's the worst one.
I don't think it's the worst one, but I do think that the book didn't give me as much, joy.
Yeah.
I can say movies that are better. I can say books that are better than the movies, but
go for it. While you're at it, you might as well go for it. Give me one that has a better book.
Better book. This is like such a girly thing, but the Twilight books are better than the movies by far.
I would hope so.
The series is much better. I'm trying to look at my list.
Give me one more, then it's my turn. You got this.
Actually, I have one more movie that was better than the book.
Okay.
Room.
Room?
I love Room.
Room was awesome.
Room is awesome. The book was awesome, but I think the movie was just so powerful, and I really like the way it's told, and the
one of the
relationship
best
between
child acting performances of all time.
And the book I think I gave 5 stars as well, but I think the movie just really stuck with me more.
All right. So me and Joe aren't like avid book readers really. So one that came to mind for me though was Hellraiser. The Hellbound Heart is the name of the book. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting one because the director of the movie is the author of the book. He wrote the book and then directed the movie, which is kind of cool. But I think just a lot of the stuff that's described in the book works so much more, like, it's so much more gruesome in it being shown rather than it being told, because it relies so much on this disturbing imagery and a lot of like body horror stuff that you could say like, oh, there's a bloody person that got their head cut off. You could write that in the book, but then when you actually show it, I feel like it works like a lot better. So
for that one, I'm not really super into horror, but I did read the Hellbound Heart. You bought it for me. And I think if I read that without watching the movie first, I would have been a little confused. So I do kind of agree that the movie is very good. Yeah.
Joe, I was thinking, I know you don't read too much, Joe, but I know you actually read comics though. I don't know if there's any like comic stories that were done very well on film compared to comics.
I feel like, well, I mean, one, I know The Boys. The Boys
Yeah.
is like I've read
Yeah.
some of the Boys comics. It's a very different in the comics, but a lot of people really don't like it. I'm trying to think of other. Usually, I feel like the one I was thinking of was Fahrenheit 451, but like the book is a lot better than both of them. There was like a TV show and a movie, and the movie was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
You could
You could say
skip
Infinity War, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I feel like because I read the Infinity War graphic
Yeah.
novel, and I think the movie actually, like Infinity War into Endgame, like they did that story better than the book.
I feel like Thanos' motivations are like more justified in the movie than because in the comic he's just doing it to impress Lady Death.
Yeah.
This is like there's an actual like motivation, like he's in a morally gray area because he's not necessarily wrong.
And in the book, the one to get the gauntlet from him is like Nebula.
Yeah.
Which it makes sense because it's his daughter, but having it be Iron Man, who's like the one who started the whole universe, I think works a lot better.
Yeah, yeah.
So
one more before you go to the next
All
question.
right,
I just thought of was A Haunting in Venice. The book is called Halloween Party by Agatha Christie, and personally, it's not great.
Yeah, I got you a couple of those Agatha Christie books for Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I read Halloween Party. But I just like sometimes like I can get into a book and then like realize like it just drags a little bit. Yeah. I liked the movie, but I didn't really like the book.
Okay. Fair enough.
Thanks
for adding that. But yeah, thank you for the question. That was actually a really good question. There's one more question that you're not really gonna be able to answer, Emily. But
okay.
This is from at the Wasteland Reviewer on Instagram, friend of the podcast. Emily knows him, so if you're listening right now, thank you for the question. And he asks, "What is your most anticipated project in the new DCU?" Joe, I'll let you go first because you're a lot more into it.
About it.
All right, so I'll go.
Yeah, I want him to go first, honestly.
Honestly, my most anticipated is Brave and the Bold. I just love Batman, and I'm really interested to see where they go with the casting, as well as the look of the character and the vibe of the movie. If it is more of like a Tim Burton kind of style, I feel like they're going to probably lean towards that. And I'm also really excited to finally see like a Robin that's actually a kid. Compared to Batman and Robin was like an adult Robin.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see James Gunn's take on that. So.
For me, it's obviously Superman is the easy answer, but Swamp Thing really intrigues me, especially because I bought that like comic, the big ass one. It's like all the Swamp Thing stories, and it's a lot of like body horror and there's a lot of horror elements involved. So I'm really interested if they're gonna like stick with that. Or they're going to make it more.
They might do a rated R like kind of thing because James Gunn has done rated R.
Yeah.
Comic book movies before, so
they're definitely gonna. I feel like I'm trying to think of what movies they're going to be rated R for the DCU.
Swamp Thing obviously could be one.
Authority maybe.
Maybe the Authority. A Batman rated R down the line would be crazy, but I doubt they would do that just because of like.
What's cool is like they could put like the character like Superman, like they're never gonna make a rated R Superman movie, but they could have him in like another movie that's rated R and have him do stuff in there.
Yeah, that's true. They could do that, but yeah, we have to see because we haven't even got a single movie yet. But yeah, that's a good question. So
yeah,
thank you again for the question. But yeah, I guess we could wrap things up with the movie recommendation, Joe.
Yeah.
You do the honors here.
So we actually were talking about it before, but I read this week, this next episode, I wanted to recommend Terrifier 2. Directed by, was it David Leon?
Damien Leon.
Leon, whatever.
Or maybe Leone, but yeah.
I like Matt said, I wasn't a big fan of the first, but I haven't seen the second. And from what I've heard from everyone else, is a huge improvement on the first one. So, and with the trailer of this one, the third one coming out, I thought it was a good time to watch it.
Yeah, I've already seen it, but I love that movie. So I'm excited to check it back out again. I'll probably make Emily watch it too, even though she'll be scared. All right, yeah, and next episode will be very horror focused because we're gonna have Trap, Cuckoo, if that's how you pronounce it, and now Terrifier 2. So sticking with that, I'm gonna recommend a list for next episode. I want to do top 10 horror films of the 2020s. So anything released 2020 or later, horror films. So like a lot of modern stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really it. Before we close out, just want to thank you again, Emily, for hopping on the episode. I hope you had a good time talking with us.
I had a great time.
And yeah, maybe you'll be back in the future if there's some girly movie coming out. A
girly movie or a movie that was a book.
Yep. If you got something good to say about it, we would love to have you on. So, yeah, that's really it. Everyone have a nice week, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. But also, before you go, make sure to follow us on everything: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Not Facebook, unless you guys want that. We could make one. And subscribe to our YouTube and give us 5-star rating on an Apple Podcast, please. And yeah, that's it. See you later.
Peace.